Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Is there like a fire sale in Boston, and San Francisco now reaps the benefits? Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Perloff was not expecting a blockbuster baseball trade in the middle of June, but here we are. Rafael Devers is going to the San Francisco Giants. They needed a bat. And for now, as we're just still kind of unpacking this thing, I think you and I do not see eye to eye on who was in the wrong here on the Boston side of things. A guy who had been signed to the biggest contract in the history of the Boston Red Sox, a storied organization, an organization with lots of money, not a small market, and Devers got the biggest contract. Was he in the wrong because he was not happy with all the position changes they asked him to make, or were the Red Sox in the wrong by alienating a star player?
Wait, what do you mean? Like, what is I don't understand. It's sports. Like, the manager or the coach tells the player where to go, and the player goes there. What's the big deal?
Well, that's not modern sports. That's not sports. That's not superstars. Superstars do get a little bit more say generally with
maybe
everything.
In baseball. Well, if that's the case,
a little more say, a little more.
I mean, let's take a step back. Okay. Obviously, it feels like, and I read this last night, the Red Sox are still reeling from letting Mookie Betts go to the Dodgers.
Yeah, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, so they basically, the Devers contract was awful, and it was a reaction to that because they didn't want to lose they didn't want to lose Betts and Bogarts and Devers, so they overpaid for him. So then they have all this money invested in him, and they ask him to do a couple things for certain reasons because they want to win. He says no. So great. They got rid of that massive contract and really didn't pay a dear price for a contract that looks crazy.
They gave him that contract.
Right.
They
but
gave
that happens.
him that.
But now they don't have it. They got a couple good years out of it. They're not going to have the downside of that contract. And they're listen, they shouldn't be a small market team. Then they can use that money down the road, and long term, they're better off.
See, here's the thing, though. They signed that contract 2 years ago. He still has 8 years left on the deal.
They probably got the best 2 years out of it.
No, we're not talking about the last two. The last three were guys you kind of, all right, grin and bear it. You suck it up. You get the end of like a Melky Cabrera kind of something like that, where you have to just sort of bite your tongue. Devers is still producing. And by the way, amidst all the position changes and all the things they asked him to do, he's still raked. And so, obviously...
They weren't asking him to play shortstop. They were asking him to play first base, which is where you put the fat guy, or DH, or, what's the big deal?
Well, they took him away from third. But here's the thing. When they signed Alex Bregman, rather, you knew that Bregman was the better third baseman. That was not, that's not debatable. However, I do think that Alex Cora, who's a manager who has a reputation for being this great clubhouse guy and handling egos and all of that, the way that they put the position change on him, where you're a veteran who's won a World Series, who they just signed to this big deal, you might have to handle this with a little bit of care. You might think, hey, I'm the incumbent here. Not everybody is going to take this easily. So then he does actually accept being a DH, Rafael Devers, and that's fine. Then their first baseman gets hurt, patellar tendon. That's very common around here. Unfortunately, that's the same injury that EJ had, our producer. But then they're like, can you just do first? Can you go move to first base? And I think everyone thinks that's the scene from the movie Moneyball. Anyone can play first base.
First base, yeah.
Not everybody can play first base.
Yes, they can. They absolutely can. What happened in Moneyball? The guy learned how to play first base.
Well, Scott Hatteberg is not the same as Rafael Devers.
Oh, I mean, listen, first base is fancy DH. I mean, what's the difference?
Well, I think there was for him. And the fact that you don't know your own personnel well when you just gave him this big investment, I think speaks to something wrong and rotten with the Boston Red Sox.
Really? You don't think that there's something wrong with Devers?
Listen, I think it's a combustible thing, but you got to know your guy. You just gave him $315 million 2 years ago. He's not going to change overnight. Money just makes you more of what you are. You have the institutional knowledge of this guy being your guy, and you still mess this up. And by the way, the one thing I do not want to hear is that John Henry, the billionaire owner of the Red Sox, they're kind of owned by a conglomerate now, but he's like the face, that heaven forbid He had to get on a plane from Boston to Kansas City at some point earlier this season to talk to Devers about the position changes. You own a baseball team.
Wait, you want the owner to talk to a player about switching positions?
No, they wanted to talk to him. No one made John Henry get on the plane, but he didn't like the fact that Devers was not open to the change once he inconvenienced himself by going from Boston to Kansas City. Spare me. You own the baseball team. You gave this guy all this money. So now you've got to do a little cleanup on aisle 7, a little damage control. That's what you sign up for. They didn't ask you to fly to Singapore for a cup of coffee with the guy. You can go from Boston to Kansas City. I'm sorry, billionaire, but I know your time is precious, but this is also what you sign up for when you're dealing with human people playing baseball for your team. And by the way, he was on the team that won you a World Series and probably made you even more money. So get on a plane.
I don't know. Listen, I don't even know why the owners getting involved in this. Oh. We're in NBA trade mode, right? That's the hot stories. There are a lot of Kevin Durant might be traded. What's the one thing every NBA team does? They overpay on the original contract, and then they're dying to get rid of it in the trade market. So maybe because I'm in that mode, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like these trade grades should be weighted heavily towards Boston. Like
There's
Boston,
no salary cap here. It's a different sport with a different
calculus. Then they get to spend all that money on an up-and-coming player where Devers you probably got the best of in the, already he's 28, but I think the 30 to 40 years are not going to be great. So based on the fact that happens with a lot of players, and then you're going to be able to spend all that money somewhere else.
But you can still spend all that money somewhere else. You're acting like the Boston Red Sox have to make this rob Peter to pay Paul thing like they're the Pittsburgh Pirates or like they're Kansas City. It's not like that.
But you're a Mets fan. You should know how this works. Like, there's nothing worse for a franchise than bloated contracts on older players. And they'll spend all that money and they'll bring in a bunch of young players. I think at this point, like, they already kind of lost this whole situation.
Hold on. So we're talking about the Rafael Devers trade from last night. He's producing.
Right for now, but there's no way that contract's good. Would you want that contract?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Yes, I do want the contract.
Yeah.
Period.
9 years of this?
Well, period, full stop, I want the contract because I thought the Red Sox are trying to win. When you trade for Garrett Crochet, when you sign Bregman, and you've been kind of dormant, since you won the World Series in 2018, I want to signal that I'm not just going to let the Yankees take this division year after year after year. So, I do spend the money. And by the way, he's going to mash for San Francisco, who's going for it right now because they find themselves in this dog hunt, whatever, rat race of an NL West. I like teams that are aggressive, that try to make these moves. And Boston, nothing is keeping them from continuing to spend. You mentioned I'm a Mets fan. Yankees, Boston, LA, these are the deep waters that Boston is swimming in. They're not some mom and pop operation. They're owned by a giant conglomerate with billionaires. LeBron James is part of it. Don't cry and feel bad for the Boston Red Sox. They've got money to burn.
And they will burn. Okay. Just not on him.
They didn't burn it on Mookie.
Yeah, well,
different regime.
I think the outcry, obviously, I think they're still, as I said earlier, chasing the Mookie deal. They should have spent that money. But I totally get, I look at it in a vacuum, and I totally understand what they're doing here with Devers.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And Mookie Betts, by the way, was just one of the people that has exited.
Well, he's the only one that I think really historically he's going to matter. I mean, he's what? He won in 2020. He's already won 2 World Series.
Yeah, he won with Boston in 2018.
Yeah.
Won with the Dodgers in 2020, of course. And then
won last year. So that's 2 already. So honestly, like, I think the Red Sox are watching him win rings in LA and be like, that should be us. And then that mistake was made. And the Devers contract, that was too much money in too many years. I think that I understand what you're saying about it feels like the Red Sox don't want to spend, but I think everyone's counting them out. Like, I have a lot of friends from Boston, like, oh my God, we're a minor league operation anymore. Just because you got this contract off your books doesn't mean that the next 10 years are going to be paupers situation.
Well, I mean, what's the outlier now?
And also
Mookie Betts gone. Xander Bogaerts gone. Now you have Rafael Devers gone. Chris Sale is gone. Eduardo Rodriguez is gone. Manny is smiling like that is a you-know-what eating grin because the Yankee fans are so happy because Devers used to destroy you. Most notably, Garrett Cole, who should be doing some kind of I don't know, he should be
celebrating.
But the Red Sox, until this weekend,
something more updated. Yeah.
Until this weekend, the Red Sox were not good, right?
Yeah, they were actually until they started getting hurt this year.
Well, right, but they entered this series like 2 games under 500. Like this, they weren't exactly.
They've been rolling.
And then they swept the Yankees.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying before this weekend, nobody was talking about to be under 500 at this point in the season in Major League Baseball is not exactly scream contender.
I mean, I don't know. The Yankees are such a juggernaut right now, but they did just sweep them. They had been turning up. You know, you get some guys back. You think, all right, maybe you make a move at the deadline or not. A lot of baseball left to be played.
I mean, they're 4th place in the AL East.
This is definitely San Francisco's game, though, because with what's going on with the Dodgers, what's going on with San Francisco, obviously the Padres, obviously Diamondbacks, like this is good stuff. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
So you're in the camp. You give the Giants a good grade on this?
Totally. 2 thumbs way up.
Oof.
A.
Oh,
Now,
I don't know. That's not how these things usually work out.
Well, I don't know. It usually works out for the star, the prospects, and some of these other pitchers. And Jordan Hicks not a prospect.
It usually works out for the team that's not paying $300 million for an MLB player.
Well, what's their definition of working out? Because they're not winning a World Series now, and it feels like it's going to be even farther away from Boston.
No, it might not work out for Boston, but I don't think the Giants hit a home run here. I think the Giants might think they did, but generally, I think in 3 years, could be like, wow, how do we get rid of this guy?
I like this for San Francisco, and here's another reason why. Because it's hard to sign sluggers to that ballpark in free agency. Pitchers, they'll line up. Everyone wants to pitch at Oracle, but it's harder for hitters, especially for lefties, because it's such a cavernous ballpark. So, listen, the production may dip a little, but there's a trickle-down effect of having a really good hitter in the middle of the lineup and how it impacts everyone else who's going to be hitting in the lineup. You do get some better pitches to hit. It does have that domino effect. So while some guys' numbers might tick down slightly, does it help everyone else in the lineup?
Yeah.
Let's not discount that.
Yeah, and also, too, I know we're going to get into it later in the show. You're a Mets fan, I'm a Phillies fan, Giants fans. We all got a lifeline. The Dodgers are blowing the Shohei thing.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah, I can't believe, the NL is open again. we're open for business. It's not going to just be the Dodgers sweeping because ego is getting in the way, and they decide, hey, let's give everyone a chance.
And
Bro,
Perloff
what are you doing here?
Talking about is Shohei Ohtani is going to return to the mound tonight.
Playoffs back on, baby.
He thinks this is the worst idea ever.
Yeah, there's no way Shohei's going to be around in October if he's pitching. This is good news for National League.
Oh, I don't know about that. Let's go to the phones. Why not? 888-710-4ISN. Early and often here, especially for our crew in the Bay Area, it's going to be a fun one for everybody. But maybe specifically for the San Francisco-Oakland crowd, we are doing the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff, the 4 sports gods from every great sports city in this country. And today, we tackle the Bay Area. By the way, this was planned weeks ago. We did not just shuffle things around because of the Devers trade. Mike's in San Francisco. Mike, you happy you got Rafael Devers?
I love the feistiness on a Monday morning. This is special. That came out of left center field. By the way, you guys are rock stars. Anyway, I literally was on the phone with our local stations, and I don't know if I necessarily want to call it a splash trade. I did not see Buster Posey making a move like this. Although, my Giants have money to spend, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't know the logistics of it. I know Devers has, a $315 million contract. So, but besides that, I was just amazed.
Yeah, floored. Let me give you the particulars here. $254 million left on the deal to be spread out over 8 years. So,
oh gosh,
depending on how this goes, Mike, thank you for the call. Depending on how this goes, Devers could find himself in the sports gods of the Bay Area. This goes really well.
Oh yeah.
Have a little mountain to climb there, guys like Joe Montana. But yeah.
I thought you were going to say the sports gods, the Andrew Brandt sports business gods, guys who get a lot of money. I think it's very unlikely that he is ever going to be talked about in the sports gods of San Francisco. I just don't think this contract's going to age well.
Fading already. We have a Shohei angle here that we have to get to because the Dodgers have to be looking at this like, uh-oh.
No. The Dodgers? I mean, you could add 4 MVPs to the Giants and they're still short of the Dodgers. Mm-hmm.
Dodgers aren't running away with this division, though.
Oh, everybody's going to be in the they're all going to be in the playoffs.
And you think Shohei's going to get hurt like in 5 seconds after he starts to pitch?
Well, they have to hope that Shohei gets lucky and doesn't go to the IR. I think the Dodgers are fine. I mean, listen, no one's going to out-talent the Dodgers. Not even the Yankees are not going to out-talent the Dodgers. So no, they're not afraid of this.
Oh, gosh.
888-710-4ISN. Would love to hear from you. Literally coast to coast on this trade, from the Boston angle and them getting rid of yet another star. And then for San Francisco, hello, shot in the arm, middle of the lineup. You get a lefty power bat, falls out of the sky in the middle of June.
First base, which is where you put the fat guy. Yeah, it's like a softball position. There's no difference in my mind between first base and DH. Just stand there and catch the ball.
Oh, boy.
I wish it was that easy. Because maybe P. Alonso wouldn't have injured our pitcher this weekend.
I feel like Keith Hernandez is going to walk through that door like the Kool-Aid
Well, there's
man.
I mean, come on. First base, that's where you put the injured guy. This is not even a discussion. I don't know what I would have traded him. I would have traded him before. We wouldn't even had to wait till mid-June.
Perloff want to trade him opening day. 888-710-4ISN. So we get a big baseball trade. So it just rains down from the sky late yesterday afternoon on the East Coast, which was amazing because Rafael Devers actually played a game yesterday afternoon.
Went
Homered.
yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Little send-off there for the Red Sox
Walked
fan.
in his final at bat as a Red Sox.
Homered in his last game, though.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's impressive. Barely got over, but it did.
Won't have to deal with that anymore.
Things are looking up for man. He had a big birthday over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, enormous.
888-710-4ISN. Okay, how the Dodgers play into this trade is what we have next. We've got a lot more on the docket for you, including, as I said, sports gods of San Francisco and the Bay Area. We also have a Cowboy Quickie for you, the latest on what Dak Prescott had to say about the Cowboys' Super Bowl chances, and so much more. The Maggie Perloff Show.
It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Red Sox, Giants make a blockbuster trade. I do not get the Luka Doncic comparisons because the Dallas Mavericks trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers, and it's universally agreed to be the worst trade in NBA history. I've read a lot now on the Rafael Devers to the Giants trade, and there are a lot of different opinions on who won this trade. Because, as Jeff Passan said, this contract is underwater. This is a bad deal. So I think a lot of teams did not want to do this deal. I bet you the Giants were an exception rather than a rule, the teams who would take this trade. So that's Luka. I think 29 other teams would have lined up to take Luka off the Mavericks' hands. I do not see Devers this way. I know he's really, really good now. There's no doubt about that. But baseball, you tend to decline in your later years, and that's a lot of money. So I'm not killing the Red Sox. And from I know I think Boston fans are just still mad about Mookie Betts, and they're acting out.
Well, I don't have any sympathy for the Red Sox because nobody made you give Devers this contract.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything today as we sit here on June 15th. It's still a bad deal. Well, if you made a mistake, it's a sunk cost.
It's not a bad sympathy for men like John Henry specifically today, who owns the Red Sox. No, I don't. First of all, I don't agree with you that we have a Devers is not over the hill. He's 28. Yeah. He's on the right side of 30. He's been performing at the plate despite all of the, turmoil that's been going on with him and the team bickering about what position he's going to play. He's still been able to mash.
Oh, wow. What a warrior.
Well, I'm just saying, if San Francisco, that's what you're paying for, right? And I think he's proven that he can play through a distraction. Now, this got way out of hand. And it feels like, one thing I will agree with you on, it does feel, I won't say silly, but it does feel unreal that bickering over these position switches led to a situation where you felt like, we can't make it work with this guy, especially when he continues to hit. In my sports watching life and covering sports as a professional journalist, I feel like superstars are granted different types of, I wouldn't say opportunities, but treated differently. Like the great Bill Parcells always said, I treat everyone fairly. I don't treat everybody the same. That's how I noticed that things have worked my whole life. Right. So I'm really shocked that Rafael Devers did not get that same grace or that same courtesy from a team that just paid him all this money, that wanted to build around him. All of a sudden, a couple position switches and things got so out of hand. He's on a different coast in a different league, never banished, basically.
And this formula of kowtowing to your overpaid superstar has worked. Has won a lot of World Series.
Well, you're the one who decided to give him all that money. So it was only 2 years ago. It's not like you are fooled or you should be surprised. This is your guy.
You might have made the decision, but that doesn't change the fact of what the contract is today. Again,
but you were comfortable with it 2 years ago, and he's still good.
2 years. They probably made a mistake 2 years ago. That's probably too much money. So you might be covering up for a mistake. And I just think Boston fans are in their emotions, and they generally, I think they're burned by a bunch of different things, especially Red Sox fans. It's so funny because for a century they didn't win.
Yeah.
And then the bar is so high there that they're not even rational.
Well, the problem is that you say it's the money not worth it. To who? There's no salary cap in this sport. It's not like you've got to fit in guys with all these rules, like what's going on with the NBA with the second apron and the third. Yeah, you got a luxury tax, but you know what? The rich teams pay it.
Yeah, but why do you think other teams reportedly are not as interested in this contract then?
Well, there's only a few teams in baseball because of how it's set up with the economics that you can take on these massive contracts. The Boston Red Sox are one of those teams.
Right, and I'm sure down the road, I hope that they'll spend that money elsewhere. I mean, they're probably saying, well, if we're going to give a $300 million contract, let's make sure that it's going to really last and be of value. I think that Red Sox fans, they probably, in my mind, probably had to step back and start this thing a little bit over again.
Well, our very own Andrew Kaplan in the chat this morning said this is worse than the Luka trade. Now, he is a Red Sox fan, so let's give him a little space.
A little dramatic.
But, it's got shades. Yeah, it's got shades.
Is a 500 baseball team traded one of the most expensive players in baseball? Oh, my God. Get a grip, Cap.
The shades are... You can't believe this is the reason. Like, Luka got traded because he smokes a hookah and has a few beers. And, this is Rafael Devers didn't want to play, didn't want to get moved off a third. It's not like he didn't want to play in the field. He just wanted to keep his position. Then he does it, acquiesce, goes to DH. Then they ask him to play first. He's like, why you guys, messing with me?
But the other thing, too, is that really why it got traded? Or is it the 11-year, $330 million contract?
Well, same with Luka. Was it really because of the hookah, or was it really because they didn't want to pay this massive, supermax contract?
But in the NBA, it's so different. I mean, there's no doubt Luka's going to be worth a supermax. In the NBA, there's just zero doubt. The guys who are 10 times worse than him are going to get the supermax. Heck, Desmond Bane, who was traded, is probably going to get a supermax someday.
Yeah.
So there is questions about this Devers contract. I think that Red Sox fans are getting way too emotional about this. They used to be rational. Back in 2002, they stole the guys from Moneyball and they built a smart team. And now they're just they're Yankees 2.0. It's like, let's pay for everybody. This is a smart deal. They didn't have to give up anything to get this contract off their books. So they won.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let's go to Andrew Bogusch. No, we're not going to go to Bogusch. Okay.
I have a complete computer failure, so I need 2 more seconds.
Okay. You take all the time in the world. I'm going to go to Jamie, who's in Dallas, Texas. Jamie, what do you think about Rafael Devers?
So I won't go too deep on the Luka side, but and obviously I'm a Mavs fan, but Luka's relationship with Carlisle is why Carlisle left. They were hardly speaking at the end. This is not anything new with him and getting along with him and meshing with him. As you look at it on the now that without the Luka trade, the Mavericks are never in the lottery. They don't get the number 1 overall pick. So you have to look at it through the lens of now it's Cooper Flagg, Max Christie, and Anthony Davis. At that point, the deal's probably a wash. Everybody kind of needs to move on from that thing. On the backside of this, baseball, you play 162 games. Everybody, you play 28, 29 days out of each month. Those guys are living side by side with each other. They're traveling every day.
Yeah.
This situation with Devers had a cancerous element to it. You can't tell me that first of all, for him to push back on staying at third base when he was one of the worst third basemen in the entire league, as far as errors, wins above replacements on every single metric.
Yeah.
He was terrible at third, and Bregman is fantastic. Then he won't go play the other corner, which, if you talk about this, especially through the lens of Ohtani coming back, now I realize being able to pitch and play the corners in the outfield is different than what we're talking about, maybe possibly playing the corners in the infield. But when you have a guy that's making these dollars,
right,
and he's saying, I'm putting my glove up, as he said, they told me to put my glove up, I'm only going to play DH, that doesn't allow you any flexibility. This is before Costas gets hurt.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow you any flexibility from a lineup standpoint. They just brought up this super prospect that they've got a ton of young bats. The manager.
So, wait, Jamie, hold on one second. I get what you're saying, and you could do the Don Draper line. That's what the money's for, right? We want you to be flexible. We don't want you to be clogging up the DH. But even though they asked him to move to DH, because yes, Bregman is definitely the better third baseman. I'm not going to fight you there. But the cancerous locker room clubhouse stuff. Can I just ask you, do you think that guys want to be friends, or do you think they want to win? And I know that baseball is a little more intimate, like you said. You're on the road together a lot more than any other sport. You're living side by side, as you said, is a good way to put it. But guys want to win. And Rafael Devers getting traded just made this team worse, not better.
So, to your question, and I'll go back to the NBA analogy of the current teams that are in the finals. Those guys are friends on both teams, and they're winning. And the culture in sports is changing a little bit from this super team aspect, and have that level, and especially Devers. This is a guy who's really English second language at best. He doesn't hardly speak English. Anytime he speaks to the media, it's always through a translator. So there's a lack of
Shohei Ohtani. I mean,
fair enough.
I don't think I don't think that matters. And to be honest, though, Jamie, it's like, all right, this guy painting Rafael Devers like he was this, unbelievable locker room cancer. They just gave him the money 2 years ago. They know him better than anybody, Jamie. The Red Sox, I'm saying, and they're the ones. If he really was this awful, despicable, terrible teammate, why'd they give him $350 million?
What? I don't understand what difference that makes. Who cares if they gave him the deal 2 years ago? You're saying. What does the deal mean today?
That much? Like,
yes, definitely changed that much.
You think he all of a sudden changed his whole personality?
Yes.
I don't think so.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay, you're talking about. It's not even that deep. Listen, when you're the highest paid player on the team, you're the leader.
Yes.
Whether you want to be or not.
They were comfortable with that 2 years ago. Why did it change?
You're either willing to do whatever it takes, or you're not. And when you're not willing to do whatever it takes, that's a message to everyone from the top down that this is just a bunch of business decisions, and that's just not the way it works in team sports.
It is a business, though, JB, and here's the other part. You're saying that Rafael Devers is this butcher over at third. Then why did they give him the money? Because he hits. And he's continued to hit.
Right. That's why you move him to first base or DH, like every other team in the history of baseball.
But are you saying that he's a terrible teammate because he's continued to do exactly what they paid him to do, which is hit?
So let's get into the. You made a reference about Red Sox fans. Okay, let's get into that for a second. You had Bogarts go at the door as well as Betts. Okay, you paid him because the Red Sox have had a mess of personnel moves, and the last thing, we got this young hot bat, like we got to respond to the Yankees, and all these other people, and the Orioles are young and up and coming. Obviously, this year is not, but that you paid him in a reactionary move, and now, like Bro was saying, you got this off the books, man. The fact that you got a 10-year deal off your books and you get to move on when you got a bunch of young bats. The Red Sox are not light on bats. And that's all this guy is at this point, is a bat. He won't play the field, and he can't play third, and he shows no defensive.
Here's the thing. I got to stop you, but thank you for the call and the passion. There's nothing preventing the Red Sox from spending on Devers and also spending on other positions. They don't rob Peter to pay Paul. They don't have to. They can choose to, And that's why Red Sox fans might be ticked off, Pearl. But they are not a small market team who's hard up for money, who has to make these, decisions. Is it this or that? And gosh, we can't make the payroll this week and we can't make ends meet. They're not like that. So you can say you don't like the contract, the one they literally just gave to him. Yeah. It doesn't prevent them from making any other move that they ever wanted to make.
Right, but for high-spending teams, like getting that contract off means you can fill that money elsewhere, right? Like, again, I look at your Mets, they got clogged with in the past with a bunch of bad contracts. Every time you sign a $330 million deal, that's a $300 million that's not going to some other star. So they can fill in behind this guy. Honestly, again... And don't tell me 2 years ago he signed. What is the deal today? If you're the Giants, you're like, oh man, I think in 4 years they're gonna be like, I wish we could trade this guy. They might win a World Series this year. I'm not saying that's not true, but in 4 years, I guarantee I would hope we'd be sitting here and saying, how do we get this guy out of here?
Bogusch is here. Computer's working.
We'll see. It appears to be.
You need a reboot?
That's what works. Control-Alt-Delete, baby. Still works in 2025.
What do you got for us?
Headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Arch is coming out. It was the drought we didn't know needed to be busted. J.J. Spawn without a top 20 finish in a major until winning the U.S. Open yesterday at Oakmont. The 34-year-old birdieing 17 and 18 for a two-shot win over Robert McIntyre on a wet Sunday in the Pittsburgh area. A great finish to a gross start.
Today I was running to CVS in downtown because my daughter had a stomach bug and was vomiting all night long.
Nice.
So I was just like, okay. Like my wife was up at 3 a.m. and she's like, Violet's vomiting, although she can't keep anything down. And so it was kind of a rough start to the morning. I'm not blaming that on my start, but it was just kind of like it fit the mold of what was going on, the chaos.
So
blamed his daughter.
Yeah, so Dad makes Violet feel better, and then Violet makes Dad bogey 5 of his first 6 holes to trail by 4 as he hit the back 9.
Happy Father's Day.
But Spawn played those holes at 3 under to survive the heavy rains and a crowded leaderboard. Sam Burns had the lead when that final round began. He shot an 8 over 78 yesterday to finish at 4 over, tying for 7.
He got screwed, by the way, on that water challenge. But that's... Anyone who hates the U.S. Open because it's too hard, they're out of their mind. That was an incredible day of golf.
I'm anybody.
I
hate it.
That's one of the best Sundays in a long time.
It was a little bit of a long haul, though, to get to yesterday because it wasn't that fun the previous 3.
How is it out?
Saturday was boring. Nothing happened Saturday.
Watching guys try and hit out of that grass is crazy interesting to me. Like, what's the point of, why would you want a nice course when you could have that?
They were sweeping water off the course.
Yeah, and that made Spawn... I mean, that's going to be a historic win. Because of that was unbelievable. That might be one of the top 10 golf shots of all time, his putt to win the whole thing.
I was thinking about that because it's incredible how nobody could hit anything, right? Because the rain was so crazy. And then all of a sudden, here he comes and drains this dramatic putt. And he actually drained a long putt earlier in the round also. But the last one, obviously, is going to be the iconic one. That's nuts.
I mean, honestly, it was the elements are always a factor in golf. It's not like they play in a dome. So this was a huge achievement to me.
They should build a dome over Oakmont.
I loved it.
Honestly,
great putt, terrible tournament. That was
terrible in what way?
It was. I don't like seeing the best players in the world play poorly. You know what this is? This is the 1999 Heat versus Knicks, who scores are 75-78. Yes.
Some people are pining for that.
Yeah, some people love that stuff. That's not great golf to me, just like that isn't great basketball to me. Like,
can Charles Oakley come out and kneecap somebody?
Right. I want to see the guys. And look, incredible putt at the end. Like, that was one of the best shots, maybe the best shot I've ever seen, no doubt. But it took me all day to get to that one shot and say, well, this was a great tournament. I can't go there. I despise the U.S. Open.
Wait, so you enjoyed the PGA where Scotty just wiped the field?
The Masters. The Masters is a tough course, but you see excellent golf being played. That's my favorite tournament.
You enjoy? I don't even understand what you enjoy. Like, you say, wow, that's an awesome approach shot by whatever.
I want to see precision.
I like to see guys I like the British
double and triple bogey.
I like impossible shots out of a pot bunker. I like to see guys who are and even I do enjoy the Masters too when it's stuck in the straw. I like to see guys do ridiculously hard things.
Perloff wants the dude perfect of golf, off the pavilion. down a drain pipe into the hole.
For example, the PGA, like there's anybody who thinks that was more entertaining than this, I have no idea what they're watching. Like,
well, but the U.S. Open is just better. Like in general, in the PGA, it's a big, it's a more,
and it's always
bigger
difficult.
cachet, right? But I certainly lean towards EJ. Don't understand why it needs to be so punitive.
Well, this is the elements. You can't. They never knew they were going to get the most. What they say, the most rain in Allegheny County over the course of 3 days or whatever.
This was going to be like this, rain or not.
Yeah, it's the hardest course in the country, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, and I know U.S. Opens are notoriously hard. I think the weather made it even harder.
But it was hard for 3 days, 3.5 days. And then the weather made the finish bad. But like that's why there were only 4 guys under par when the round began, and that was 3 days of fine weather.
But I mean, they're all facing the same situation, so it's an even playing field. They went in the rain delay. They all
look mid. That's what I saw.
Look mid. I don't understand. Like those shots are impossible. They look spectacular,
right? But they're made to be impossible for the sake of being impossible. I don't like. That's what I don't understand. Like you can make there are golf courses that are hard within like the realm of like fairness, and like this is always the debate at the U.S. Open is where is the line between fair and unnecessary.
Right. So here's the thing: if this was the only golf major we had, and it's like, man, why are they making this just so incredibly hard? I can see where you guys are coming from, but you have other majors, like where at the Masters, I know they change where the pin locations are, but you get the same course every time, right? Yeah. So you have a couple things that are just, you set your calendar to it, you know it. This is just happens to be one kind of, I'll say outlier, because the British Open's hard too. But I like the fact that it's like, all right, and then this one's going to get crazy. And then you can go back to shooting 12 under at the PGA or whatever.
I feel like too many of these tournaments, I just feel like, and maybe not necessarily with this one but this year, but I feel like too many years, it's like, who survives the weekend? It's not even about necessarily, you played the best over 4 days. It's you didn't play the worst. You didn't hit the disastrous shot, or you didn't screw yourself so poorly that you had no chance to come back. And again, that's not winning golf to me. Just like a team, playing in the snow in football, or they held onto the ball, so they won. Like that is not.
Or tennis handling the wind.
Tennis, Again, I would dome all sports. I want to see the best athletes with no impact on anything.
I would say
dome over Augusta.
Spawn's drive on 17 is one of the best. Also, one of the best shots. I mean, that was spectacular. No, but regardless of it. By the way, they showed during the rain delay Tiger versus Rocco Mediate. Did you know what the final score of that was? They went to the tiebreaker. They were both even. Actually, scores were better, and that's considered one of the top tournaments of all time. So I don't know, like, how is that not spectacular? That was incredible drama. The drama is the same, regardless of whether they end up at -1 or -22. It's still, they're all, it's the competition that makes golf special to me. So I thought it was incredible.
What do we shoot at Oakmont?
Oh my gosh.
We're still there.
On 9 holes.
Shoot my weight.
We're still there. Maggie's in the tall grass, and I'm looking for my ball in the woods.
That's where Maggie was on Friday.
Yeah.
She played round 2 only of the U.S. Open.
It took me 3 days to get back here. Bogusch, thanks. I'm sorry. We got to take a quick break here. Rafael Devers trade, the blockbuster goes down yesterday. Are you blaming Devers for how things ended in Boston? And on the San Francisco side, are you excited about what could be with this big bat now in the middle of the lineup? Coming up, got a lot more to do, including top of the hour. The 4 sports gods from the Bay Area, the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff, continues, and we got Cowboys news for you as well.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You got the right one. Come from the trenches and I'm getting close to a B. Private or in public, don't come for me. Made my sacrifice.
Bay Area front and center today, not just because the Giants traded for Rafael Devers yesterday, but also because today's Maggie Perloff Mount Olympus, the four sports gods from every great city in this country, we go to the Bay Area today.
The Bay Area is not the name of a city, though.
Well,
it's an area. So, there was a lot of movement to split up Oakland and San Francisco, which would have been really interesting.
Yeah, we didn't do it, though. We've combined them, and so it made it even tougher. We'll give you our four sports gods at the top of the hour. Meanwhile, though, we do have a huge trade, and by and large, I think a lot of San Francisco fans are excited to get Rafael Devers, a clean slate, a great hitter who's hit despite the bickering going on between himself and the Boston Red Sox about what position he was going to play. But Joe is in SF, does not like this. What's up, Joe?
Hey, this could be a good trade for San Francisco if they could talk him into being a DH because he's not a good third baseman.
Yeah.
And then you got Chapman coming back, and then you got that guy, the new guy just got at first base. That dude been doing a good job. So somebody got to go. So when everybody get healthy, somebody's going to be unhappy. So they got to be prepared for that.
Well, but that's the thing, Joe. It's professional sports. So I think, and thank you for the call, what makes your team better? I'm watching and listening to Willy Adames yesterday, who's like, I'm excited about this. And yeah, Willy Adames knows this means Wilmer Flores or whoever is DHing is not going to have as much burn. But do they want to win or do you want to make friends? Like, we're not talking about high school and college here, and we're talking about professional sports. I think the San Francisco Giants deserve to be commended today for making this kind of aggressive move.
I think he was talking about on-field stuff, not locker room stuff. I mean, that's the thing.
Just got better, though.
Yeah.
San Francisco needed a bat.
They got better, but there's a cost. Like, they took on a bad contract. So I'm always the guy, don't take on the big bad contract. I understand. You did have a good point that the Giants have trouble signing hitters in free agency. So maybe that's the one team that should do it. But generally, if it wasn't for that issue, I'd be like, oh, God, don't give me this deal that all the insiders are writing is a bad contract.
Yeah, but, the San Francisco is having trouble giving the money away, right? Like, they went real hard after Aaron Judge and guys like that, trying to appeal to Judge being a hometown guy. They couldn't do it. And so you make the trade. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty dang good. I mean, unless you really think Devers' numbers are going to go down because of changing ballparks,
yes.
He's still one of the top 15, top 10 hitter in baseball.
Yeah, but you're stuck with him for the whole downside of that contract. The way baseball history works, all the metrics say that that's going to sort of descend in value.
But here's the other thing. You have 8 years to play with here, right? You've got a innovative front office who is not lacking for resources and ingenuity. So are you sure he's spending 8 years in San Francisco? He might not. You could get the next 3-4 of his prime and see what you have and then figure it out on the back end.
You mean like package a prospect to get rid of him?
I'm just saying 8 years a long time, right? To your point. So who's to say that he's actually going to be on this roster 8 years from now? You don't know, and I don't know. So you do it to win now when the guy's 28 years old and mashes. Like, it's a good move.
I just feel in baseball history, whenever you hear a deal like this, in the moment it sounds great, and then, oof. Usually it's free agency I'm talking about when you sign an older guy. I mean, obviously the one that always jumps to mind is Albert Pujols, hit 30. The Cardinals, who were geniuses at the time, said no thank you. I feel like that's the norm. For him to actually work out over the long haul would be an exception to me. But, hey, I understand in the short term. And if you can't spend the money, then I guess this makes sense. I don't understand the panic in Boston. Like, where were you going? Were you going to win the World Series this year with this guy? Your odds are pretty long.
No, they are, but it was a signal in the offseason that, like, Boston could be back. You'd make the trade for Garrett Crochet, you sign Bregman. You were doing things where it wasn't just Devers, and then it all went straight down the toilet.
And just smacked the Yankees around, too. Like,
yeah, but you were 2 games under 500 coming into that series in mid-June. I mean, that does not scream World Series champion.
Okay, but Perloff, your Philadelphia Phillies made the World Series when your record was, 80-something and something? I mean, what does it matter?
Yeah, maybe the Red Sox get into the tournament. Maybe. I mean, they're in fourth place, right?
It's baseball. It's weird. Being the number 1 seed isn't exactly, and leading wire to wire doesn't mean anything.
I know if I'm an opponent for the Red Sox and I got to see Crochet and in a lineup that has Bregman and Devers, that's not a team I want to see. I think
that's baseball.
I think the American League just breathe a sigh of relief that Devers is gone.
Well, especially the Yankees.
For sure.
And especially Garrett Cole.
Definitely.
Because Rafael Devers ate his lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And now Fried, too.
And Max Fried. Yeah.
But just to get into this chaotic postseason, which, by the way, was far, far, far from a guarantee for Boston, is it really worth all that money? I don't think they thought so.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Big trade happening. Devers goes from Boston to San Francisco. Coming up next, we're going to do this a little early. The Mount Olympus and Maggie Perloff, the 4 sports gods from the Bay Area. Tell you who we got next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
San Francisco, the Bay Area, today is your day. Not only did the Giants make a huge trade last night, basically yesterday afternoon, Rafael Devers on his way to help that lineup, Pearl. Today, the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff, the four sports gods. Every great area in this country. Today, we stop on the Bay Area.
It's funny because the two hardest cities in this entire assignment are Boston and San Francisco. By far. San Francisco, Bay Area.
It was
Boston's impossible. Bay Area, I thought, okay, Bay Area, we can do this. There's too many gods. There's too many amazing athletes.
Too many gods, but we had to whittle it down to 4. Manny, hit the music.
It's time to feast your ears on Maggie and Perloff's Mount Olympus.
By the way, we will get back to the Devers trade in just a moment. We realized that was a major bomb that sort of dropped yesterday. We're not used to these big trades happening in the middle of June.
Where does Rafael Devers rank among?
Depends.
Oh.
He's got 8 years now to prove himself with the San Francisco Giants.
That makes me think of another Giant. Anyway, because if he wins a title, okay, let's just focus on what we have in front of us.
Okay.
Just to say, I have a good buddy. Can I start?
Yes.
I have a good buddy from the area, and the way he talks about, I'm just going to clump them together as 2 spots. Jerry Rice and Joe Montana cannot not be on this list.
Yeah.
So that takes 2 spots off the bat. They speak for themselves. So the stadium used to be on that little pier, jutting out into the water, candlestick. Now it's sort of up away from San Francisco and Santa Clara, but it is the definition of San Francisco for so many years was, in a lot of ways, the Niners, and what they did for that city, I can't even imagine. I wish I grew up, but I was so jealous of San Francisco 49ers. That team was so cool.
Yep. And
Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, how else do you describe them except gods? They're unbelievable. So that's 2 spots are gone. Then it gets really tricky. Number 3, I'm going to go with Steph Curry. And because he has the titles, he has 4, I believe, right? And he got the team moved to downtown San Francisco for better or worse, leaving Oakland, as many people have done.
I'm the petty king.
He was a game changer in every sense of the world. I don't really think of the Bay Area as a basketball town necessarily. Obviously, Bill Russell's from there. But I think what Steph Curry did was so remarkable. He has to be on there. Then, of course, you have to get to the Giants. This is where it got hard. Because, listen, I know about the steroids. I know about everything. But to me, Barry Bonds screams sports god of San Francisco. And I left out the other obvious Giant because he played other places in his career. So did Barry.
Yeah,
but
so did Barry.
I think that Barry, what he did in San Francisco was all that anyone really remembers in a historic sense. I put Barry Bonds as my 4th sports god. And listen, yes, I am aware that he is not in the Hall of Fame, but I voted yes. And that was sort of that was a de facto Hall of Fame vote for Barry Bonds.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to know he's one of your sports gods. Who needs Cooperstown?
Yeah, exactly. So that's my 4. I went with Rice, Montana, Curry, Bonds.
All right. Well, you and I are lockstep on Montana and Rice. The original GOATs, in my opinion, right? These were the 2 guys who were thought of as being the greatest until Tom Brady came along.
Well, Jerry Rice really was the GOAT forever. Yes. Like, that was his nickname.
Absolutely. He was considered the best player ever. And this is before we weighted the sport so crazy towards quarterbacks that now a wide receiver would never get in this conversation. Maybe Randy Moss, but no one would be able to touch it.
Yeah.
And then Montana was always the guy and still is 4 for 4 in Super Bowls, which if some people want to, put that above Brady, it's become a tougher argument once Brady won 7. But Joe was the guy, and I think would pass all the tests of the, titles, stature, identity. Now, I know you're a big system guy. Was Joe Montana just the system? But I didn't put Bill Walsh on here. I didn't put any coaches on my Mount Olympus, nor executives. Okay, then I went to Steph Curry. I'm with you on that. Because think about Steph, greatest shooter ever. Golden State, outside of a couple interesting years in the 70s and then the We Believe Steven Jackson team that upset the Dallas Mavericks. They didn't have an identity.
Oh, Run TMC, too.
Run TMC, thank you. And Chris Mullen. Yes.
Yeah. Before Steven Jackson, they were amazing.
Nestled in the middle there from like the 70s with Jamal Wilkes winning a title and then Run TMC. But these are far spread out. Curry has been consistent. The identity of the team, you knew exactly what they were, and they this was a team that, to be fair to the fans in the Bay Area, always attended Golden State Warrior games, but they were not a consistent playoff team. It's a credit to the fans. They kept showing up. Steph Curry took them to such a different heights now. They are the modern dynasty. They are the gold standard, if you will, for modern professional sports. And then my fourth sports god, and this is not in any order, but it's got to be Willie Mays over Barry Bonds. I mean, Willie Mays never did anything that embarrassed the franchise. And I understand that Barry is a sports god, but that is, for most people, that's a black mark on the organization, not something to be exalted and lifted up. Barry, a lot of us believe, didn't need to do this. He was a Hall of Fame player back in the Pittsburgh Pirates days. It could have been clean. He couldn't do it because of the ego and all the other things. He also wasn't known to be a great guy, not a great teammate. I don't know about him out in the community, but he wasn't known to be a great teammate. And I think that matters. Whereas, what are you going to say about Willie Mays, the say hey kid, and someone who not just exemplified, excellence on the field, maybe best baseball player ever, and then also just a prince off the field.
Well, that being said, I think you have the wrong Willie McCovey. Actually, no, it's just such a great line to say you have the wrong Willie. I don't know. I just had to utter that. Willie McCovey, by the way, definitely a sports god. I mean, if we had more spots, there is no doubt. Willie McCovey is a big name there. It is Willie Mays, obviously, but I did want to shout out Willie McCovey because I think he's one of the historically underrated. Willie Mays, I was going to say, what am I going to argue against Willie Mays?
I was going to say, you got the wrong Willie.
But the most famous play he's ever had was in New York. So
the over the shoulder catch and winning the World Series, yes, was in 1954. That was in New York. But
then he went back to the Mets. I would have knocked that against him.
We're not bringing that up.
Yeah. Then again, I know my fourth spot, Barry Bonds, did play in Pittsburgh. So I just think that for some reason, when you're out in the Bay Area, the way they talk about Barry Bonds, they do not care.
Well, I think part of it is because it's like, yeah, was he a great guy? No, but is he our guy? Yes.
Yes, right, exactly.
There's a
circling the wagons feel.
Exactly.
Yep. That's another negative question.
So there you go, the sports gods of the Bay Area. Now, I know, EJ, you're not happy about these lists, and for one specific reason, right?
Last I checked, this is not the San Francisco sports gods. This is the Bay Area sports gods.
So you want Marshawn Lynch on?
Where is the Oakland representation? Yes. Where
Steph
is
Curry?
Steph Curry?
Right. Okay, that's one guy who now is playing most of his rest of his career in San Francisco. Where is Al Davis? Where is John Madden?
Al Davis moved the team.
Yeah, but he won 2 titles there. Where's Ricky Henderson?
Where's Rafael Palmeiro?
Ricky
Henderson could be on 9 different Mount Olympuses.
Listen, I'm representing the East Bay today. East Bay EJ. Okay, I'm disappointed that Oakland is being represented only by Stephen Curry, who just moved to San Francisco.
You would split it. By the way, you would split it evenly between 2 for Oakland, 2 for San Francisco. You're aware that everyone left Oakland.
What do you mean everyone left Oakland? Right, but there's still a history, right? They're still there. There's still people there. They still love sports, and I think they should be represented.
Chris Davis.
Here's a question for you. Do you think that Al Davis, if we're talking about contributors to the game, Al Davis over Bill Walsh?
Yes.
John Madden over Bill Walsh?
Not John Madden. Al Davis, yes.
I would totally disagree. Bill Walsh, honestly, Al Davis, huge deal, but Bill Walsh was arguably the greatest coach of all time. And I think a coach over an owner, because a coach has more influence on what happens on the field, would be my argument.
Al Davis was a coach.
Was the coach, and he was a GM.
Yeah, and a general manager.
Yeah,
and
but as a coach, he's not making this list because of his coaching days. I mean, also, too, he won a Super Bowl in L.A., and then his family moved him to Vegas. That feels wrong. Honestly, if you were having the inverse, the villains of the Bay Area, you could also have the Davis family on there.
Listen, like Maggie said with New York, all gods aren't benevolent, right? And I believe that Al Davis or somebody from Oakland, like the Raider organization, I know we kind of look at them as a joke now, but the Raider organization is a true flagship organization of the NFL. I get the 49ers are amazing, and they're also one of the flagship organizations, but to have zero Raider representation. The player?
If it's not Al Davis,
you're
it's not
say
John
Marcus
Madden.
Jamarcus Russell.
Marcus Allen, who I don't, was in L.A.
Side.
I mean, it might be Jake the Snake. I don't know. I think Kenny the Snake. Kenny Stabler.
Ken Stabler.
I think Kenny Stabler maybe.
Kenny Sabler, the Mount Olympus of guys who were way older than their looked way older than their age. But
no, he's balding at like 25.
The thing about it, I mean, listen, why does everyone wear Raiders hats around the country?
Ice Cube?
Yeah,
Ice Cube.
Straight out of Compton.
Yeah, because they were in L.A. for the key, like when a lot of influencers grew up in L.A., they were there. I think that takes them out of the running here. They were there for a long time, dude.
Oakland, you're being disrespected. I mean, I get, yes. I
understand.
With L.A., my mom, that's when she became a Raider fan, so I get that.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
The 70s also, the Pittsburgh Steelers-Raider rivalry was as big as any rivalry in football. It is one of the reasons why we love the NFL today. It is one of the foundational pieces of the National Football League. Al Davis and his ideas and help with the Hunts to start the AFL is one of the reasons why we have the NFL. Like, there is so much history there for the Raider organization. I get that it's messy. I get that it's complicated. But guess what? Oakland is complicated and messy sometimes. It doesn't mean that they don't deserve some representation. Again, I'm going to shout out the Athletics too, because Ricky Henderson and Reggie Jackson also could be considered for this as well.
Catfish Hunter.
Yeah, but Reggie.
Raleigh Fingers.
Oh, great mustache.
Raleigh Fingers is a great mustache.
Reggie was spread out.
Yeah,
definitely.
But his best seasons are in Oakland.
I know. Well, actually, I'm surprised if you're going to put Barry Bonds, why not put Mark McGuire on? Also for Bash Brothers.
Miguel Tejada.
Jose Canseco.
I mean, Canseco is a polarizing dude, but he could be on the villains.
Polarizing. Yeah, I mean, but again, I think it's such a hard choice. There's so many sports gods there that you have. I think all these players, the guys who move the least. I mean, Curry gets full spot because he was always there. Montana was only left 1 year to Kansas City, and Rice didn't leave till he was 38 or something. So I'm going to give the longest tenure is the key issue here for me.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I think Al Davis is an interesting one. I did put George Steinbrenner on my New York Mount Olympus, but he didn't move the team to New Jersey or whatever. Like, I don't know.
By the way,
if our pal Amy Trask was here, I'm sure that she would be very upset with us that we didn't put Al Davis on because of what an innovator he was. But again, multiple cities, I think, is what caught me up on that. And Bill Walsh, that was tough. I think he deserves this.
I mean, I think the Bay Area, we've argued what city is the toughest. And I know that we're kind of combining two cities. Shout out also to San Jose. Maybe some Joe Thornton fans out there.
Sharks.
Like, I do feel like this may be the toughest.
Yeah,
I think because there's a lean to want to put all San Francisco, but Oakland has a lot of sports history, and I don't want to I love Steph Curry. You know, he's my favorite all-time basketball player. I don't want it to only be represented by him.
Yeah, but the A's sold the team. I mean, they sold off all their stars, and the Raiders moved. Like, these franchises these franchises screwed over Oakland, and therefore don't deserve. I mean, first of all, let's talk about Juan Marichal. Let's talk about Willie McCovey. Let's talk about Madison Bumgarner. Like, those are the guys I think that I would be upset about if they're not on. Not just like Reggie Jackson because he was there 3 years. And
Reggie Jackson was not there 3 years. He was there 10 years.
Whatever. And the franchise cheaped out. That's the point. Like, they didn't want to spend to keep these guys.
But that's not his fault. Reggie Jackson's a player.
Right, but that's why. But you're saying let's reward Oakland. Well, you know what? You lose out because your owners stunk.
But that's
not the fans' fault.
Yeah, but the fans, what about the fans? Like, they still watch. Reggie Jackson winning an MVP and winning a World Series for them is still real to them, damn it. Like, but still, like, these things are still real to these people in Oakland. They watched Kenny Stabler lead them to a Super Bowl win, right? Like, they watched those games against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I don't. It'd be different. This was like some like mid Mickey Mouse franchises who we don't care about. But, like, the Athletics of the 70s were a wagon.
Yeah, big deal. No, I understand. But then Reggie goes to New
wagon.
York and hits 3 home runs in a World Series game in 1977, and that's a big part of it also. And no, listen, the autumn wind is a Raider. That the indoctrination of what the Raiders mean in the NFL starts when you're very young, no matter where you grew up. So we understand, and it's a shame, really, and hopefully Tom Brady can help bring this team back to some kind of relevance because the league is better when the Raiders are good. Problem is, Raiders are Oakland and L.A.
And
now Vegas. But the Vegas years haven't been so great.
I mean, honestly, they haven't done anything since they left for L.A. in, they haven't really done anything since they left for L.A. in 82, and they made one Super Bowl and then completely imploded. But generally, it's been a rough go. I think the old Giants, I'd be curious. I think the old Giants are getting a little bit of I guess you put Willie Mays in for all these guys.
Symbolic.
By the way, Madison Bumgarner, like, that's 3.
He has a case.
That's 3 rings. That's a big deal.
One of the greatest postseason pitchers of all time. Yeah, definitely. The Mad Bum.
Yep.
And we were talking about Buster Posey is the one who pulled the trigger on this big Rafael Devers trade yesterday. Posey is a god there. But injuries and other things.
Yeah, he's a good one, too.
Yeah, I mean, Giants fans feel like he's their Derek Jeter in terms of a guy who came in, changed the culture and everything. He leader in the locker room.
What I think the John Madden one is interesting also because what that's...
No. John Madden, if we're doing video games.
Well, cultural icon.
He won one Super Bowl.
I know, but
Bill
that was
Walsh
a big deal.
Changed the entire game.
Well,
Bill Walsh invented the West Coast offense.
But did he say, look at this guy, boom?
More people know John Madden than Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Which is,
I know, but like we're talking about, yes, nationally. He could be on some national list, but we're talking about this is the Bay Area sports guys. To me, it'd be crazy to put John Madden over.
If I polled 20-year-olds in the Bay Area, more of them would know John Madden than Bill Walsh.
Also, did Bill Walsh ever put a turkey and a chicken and a duck?
No.
Right, but that's all national. That's not
I'm
Bay
talking about
Area.
20-year-olds in the Bay Area. That's what I'm saying. I pulled under.
He
under
happens to be from the
30.
Bay Area, but yeah, everybody knows who Mike Tyson is. That doesn't mean gets into the sports gods of New York over guys who won here. So Madden's famous for the video game. As a coach, there's no way he's in the same conversation with Bill Walsh.
I don't think so, but if you're actually Tom Flores would really be the guy for the Raiders. But again, 888-710-4ISN.
He won LA though.
That's the problem with the Raiders. Not the problem, but that's the problem with doing this exercise, which is Bay Area sports gods with the Raiders because they were in LA.
Tim Brown.
Oh man, Tim Brown's so great.
Legend.
Can't believe James Wiseman was omitted from this conversation.
By the way, is it almost Brock Purdy time?
Oh, come on.
How about the modern Niners? How about Nick Bosa?
I think Kyle Shanahan would be the guy that you'd be talking about.
How about McCann? I don't think so. I think, again, he's with the Davises and the possible goats of, not goats in a good way, of Bay Area.
Oh, that sounds...
listen,
Shanahan,
Jeff Garcia is have more higher standing right now than Brock Purdy. Well, maybe not. He didn't go to a Super Bowl, but still.
I love Jeff. Love me some Jeff Garcia.
Tim Lincecum.
Lincecum was a phenom.
He was awesome for like that year or two.
How about we're doing looks? How about Barry Zito?
Zito, Garoppolo. And if we're doing looks,
oh my God, they got Zito and Garoppolo in that town, and you could. Brady's from San Mateo. You could put him in there.
Another potential beef. We're talking all about the Niners. Is all offense. What about Ronnie Lott? What about defense?
Nothing wrong with Ronnie Lott.
You know,
could have done that.
Oh yeah, dude cut off a pinky finger.
I think this is the toughest one.
No, I think Boston and San Francisco, the Devers trade, they knew that we were doing Mount Olympus today, and they had to pull the trigger.
All right, recap your 4 sports gods, Pearl.
I went with Steph Curry, Barry Bonds, Joe Montana, and Jerry Rice.
I went with Jerry and Joe as well, Steph Curry, and then give me Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid. So what did we get right and what did we get wrong, Bay Area? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Coming up, we've got some beef brewing here, bad vibes all around for one team, and some Cowboys news. Yo.
That's another negative question.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
So what did I miss? What did I miss? Virginia, my home sweet home. I want to give you a kiss.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Played a little Hamilton. Andrew Bogusch is about to do updates. He's tapping his fingers. I was informed by my 14-year-old daughter that only nerds like Hamilton.
Well, your daughter's a nerd.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen. When you're 14, like, you kind of gravitate towards a little edgier things, possibly. She liked it when she was 8.
Perloff is raising maybe the coolest kid in America, and she thinks everything we like is whack.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's about right.
But by the way, that's probably accurate. I mean, and Bogues, you have teenage kids now, too, almost. And, yeah, we're uncool. That is not a hot
My
take.
daughter's 14, and she still loves Hamilton.
Mm.
We were all watching it because they performed at the Tonys like 2 Sundays ago.
Perloff just gave you a like
what? I don't
judged your
care.
daughter.
I'll judge his. Rein her in.
Yeah, I don't
She's
think
12, not 22.
Yeah, but it's New York. It's like dog years.
You don't want to get into that game with my daughter. Trust me, I've been there.
She'll roast you.
She made me feel like why am I even on this planet Earth anymore? I offered nothing.
She just dusted you. By the way, happy Father's Day, everybody.
I think your kids are just a bit younger too, Bogues. I think that's
No, my daughter's 14.
Doesn't she make you feel like you're irrelevant in every possible way?
No, apparently she's nicer than your daughters.
It's not even that they're nice. It's just their existence.
Yes, that's true.
I think that
maybe
they're
you're just nerdier than Bogusch.
That's true too.
Maybe that's it.
I mean,
Also, isn't nerd a compliment these days, weirdly? Nerd
that
was
was like
bad when we were kids, not now.
I think that was like 5 years ago. The nerd culture peaked.
We're back to jocks.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It was, nerd became a thing. Is it still a thing? I don't know.
You, Maggie, come on, because...
Why are you guys such nerds? But I grew up in the jocks and cheerleaders type of thing, and they were the cool people.
Sounded like you were a jock.
Yeah, I think we're back to that.
Dorcas Malorcas, stuffing
We're
people
back
in
to a
lockers.
little, right, like the tech nerd. Now the sort of, that whole tech phase, like Silicon Valley, I feel like that's not in anymore.
Well, they're running the world,
We're in the bro
so...
phase now.
What's that?
We're in the bro phase now.
Aren't they techies, though, the bros?
I think they've evolved. Is my point. I think
no, not the bros evolving.
Yeah.
But I hate that.
But they're like that.
Somebody stop them.
They're like Pokemon.
But the techies are now irrelevant too, because now it's the age of AI.
Are you sure? It feels like Musk and those guys are still pretty relevant.
They're all going to lose their jobs real soon. I think that robots are taking over all that stuff now. So now
Well,
we're
who's
all
programming the robots?
the robots.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I think what tech is now is different though. Like now it's not so much about like, oh, I started a new app.
Yeah, in your
More
garage,
like-
you can't go in your garage and build something.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, I bought a Cybertruck and I know what it does. Like that's the new
Right, like-
I'm into crypto. Like that's the new that's the new tech. It's
Got
not. It's not. Oh, I developed Tinder or Facebook.
But I think 10 years ago, you'd go to college and you'd take computer science.
Yeah.
That's not even really going to be a course for my kids when they get there.
So
because
it's-
AI is now doing all what the coders used to do.
It's kind of apropos that we would be doing the Mount Olympus and Maggie and Perloff, the Bay Area, and having this very intense discussion about Silicon Valley and tech bros and stuff, because obviously it's all birthed there, but we're doing sports gods, and that's what we want to know.
Davy Diggs from Oakland, by the way.
What did we get right and what did we get wrong? Perloff and I both have Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, the original GOATs, on our list. Both have Steph Curry. I went with Willie Mays. You went with Barry Bonds.
I think Steph Curry is a great choice because Silicon Valley created Steph Curry in many ways. A bunch of tech bros bought the Warriors and looked at the numbers and said 3 is bigger than 2. Let's start shooting more threes. Boom. Dynasty.
Math whizzes over there. They did say they were light years ahead of everyone. Joe Lacob, light years ahead of everybody. And that got clowned, and then it turned out to be exactly right. John's in Western New York. John, the fact that we left off any Raiders, there's no Raider representation, unless you count that one season, I guess, where Jerry Rice was a Raider, but that was kind of weird. John, what did we miss?
Well, the only thing I wanted to say was that, in Madden's years there, I believe he was there, 11 years? I think they played in like 9 or 10 AFL or AFC championship games. In fact, they were the ones that they knocked off the Dolphins, and then they turned around and lost to the Steelers. But I mean, he could be put on there, because actually his whole career was with the Raiders in Oakland.
Yep.
So, I know it's weird for a Steeler guy to say that, but he had a pretty illustrious career. It's just that back in that era, nobody jumped around to different teams like they did, so you were always stuck playing teams that were dynasties. I mean, they were stuck playing the Steelers and the Dolphins at the time. So I mean, it was a little tougher sledding up the hill than it is nowadays when everybody has decent. You got about a half the league that has decent teams, and then they turn around and they pick up those 3 or 4 pieces that make them better. So I just wanted to throw that in there that, yes, I agree that Bill Walsh is better than Madden, but not by as much as you think.
As we're talking about. John, let's put some numbers behind it, shall we? Bill Walsh, John Madden, as far as sports gods in the Bay Area. So, of course, you've got Madden, 10 years as the coach of the Raiders, all in Oakland. Did get that one Super Bowl. This is crazy. John Madden's winning percentage was bananas.
Yeah, it's number 1 in modern history.
76% winning percentage. However,
there's a guy chasing him, but go ahead.
16 playoff games where he has a 9-7 record. So still a winning record. But this is kind of the thing then about Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh, slightly less winning percentage, still 61%. That's really, really good. 10 years, also all in the Bay Area. 14 playoff games, 10-4 in playoff games, including 3 Super Bowls. That's so gaudy. That's crazy.
Well, the thing with Madden is he retired early. So that's what really cut him
They
short.
both did 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
So
Walsh came back to Stanford, but I think Madden really could have done more. He walked away at 40, didn't he? I think he was pretty young. And also,
Madden was
it's funny
42.
because Madden got more famous as a broadcaster than a coach. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Right. That's generally not a negative on a guy.
No.
But we can't like I think the point of the call making, like, John Madden was an amazing NFL head coach.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, but-
by every metric you can
But
imagine.
Bill Walsh might be on Mount Rushmore of NFL head coaches, and there's no way John Madden is.
Yeah, but I think that some of that is a little bit of I think it's underrating John Madden's coaching, though.
Well, I think you're making a huge mistake then. If you would put John Madden and Mount Rushmore.
He's number one in winning percentage.
Well, it's got to be, to me, it's Paul Brown, Madden, Bill Walsh, Belichick, and maybe like a Shula or something. Like, Bill Walsh is way up there. I personally don't think Madden. He won one Super Bowl. The other thing too, Nick Sirianni is going to break that record soon. That's
lovely.
my point.
There's no chance that's happening.
Let's get Nick Sirianni in this.
Watch out. Sirianni is going to chase that record down and beat John Madden for the best all-time regular season winning record.
And Howie Roseman will get all the credit. 888-710.
Absolutely right.
4ISN. 888-710-4476.
Go Birds!
All right, what do we get right? What do we get wrong about our Bay Area Mount Olympus? Spokes, what's up?
Control alt delete, baby. Guys, the Giants made this Rafael Devers trade right before playing the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball. 23-year-old lefty Kyle Harrison was supposed to start, but packed his bags for Boston instead. Here's Matt Chapman on his new third base coworker.
Obviously sad to see some of those guys go, but that's kind of the nature of the business. And then just really excited to welcome, Rafi in here. And I've always admired him playing against him. So to be able to play with him is exciting.
Chapman is their current third baseman, but he's on the IL right now. So Devers can start there, but what happens when Chapman is healthy? The Giants saying last night they haven't discussed yet with Devers whether he'll DH or go to first base. So maybe we're in line for more drama like in Boston. Now, in addition to Harrison,
you gotta get that ironed out.
Well, he'll just DH.
But you
I'm
got to
not
talk
a
to
DH. I'm a third baseman.
You got to talk. Well, he's not going to take it from Chapman, but you got to talk to the agent before that, right? It's like, this is maybe the thing that caused ultimate chaos, and you're willing to let it ride. That doesn't sound great. And I love the trade, and I still wish that maybe there'd been some assurances. I think there had to be.
In addition to Harrison, the Giants are sending to Boston veteran righty Jordan Hicks, minor league outfielder James Tibbs III, and a low-level pitching prospect, while also assuming all of Devers' contract, which has 8 full years and roughly $250 million left on it.
Damn.
As for the game last night, the Giants could not hold on to an early lead.
0-1 pitch. That one is swung on and hammered deep to left field. It's heading back toward the wall, and it's gone! A 3-run home run! Andy Pages with home run number 13. And he flips the score over, and the Dodgers now lead it 5-3.
That's Tim Neverett on Dodgers Radio. Andy Pages, a go-ahead 3-run homer, bottom 5, leading to a 5-4 win. And then L.A. announced that Shohei Ohtani will serve as the opener for tonight's game against the Padres. So he is back on the mound, first time since his second elbow surgery 21 months ago.
Yeah, and Perloff's not excited about this, and I just want.
I am thrilled about this.
Why is that?
Because I'm a Phillies fan.
I don't get it.
Because he's clearly on his way to another MVP, and now this is a risk, right? Like, why add a risk to the best team in baseball?
Okay, so I'm excited about it because I want to see the thing that we never get to see since Babe Ruth, which is a guy hitting and pitching. But I thought was the explanation behind it was really interesting. I don't know if you guys saw this.
No.
So Ohtani's been doing these simulated games. So he would pitch a couple innings in the middle of the afternoon, like 2 o'clock, when you have a 7 o'clock start time. So he'd have to ramp up to pitch at 2 in a simulated game, then kind of cool down, and then kind of get going again before you're ready to play the actual game that night. And he said, this is actually causing me more stress than if I was just pitching and hitting in the same game. Yeah. And I got to get that. He's clearly got a creature of habit. Mookie Betts said after the game last night, if you guys watched SportsCenter after the game, he said he sees Shohei Ohtani for 5 minutes before the game. Like, he's on a whole different level as far as his pregame routines and stuff are concerned. So he's not hanging out in the clubhouse 3 hours before playing FIFA, like with these guys.
Instead, he's on DraftKings.
He's researching the Mountain West baseball tournament.
But to me, this feels like...
Oh, I turned my microphone on?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Well, it's like the Yankees putting Babe Ruth back on the mound. Like, he's won 3 MVPs in 4 years. Like, just let him win another MVP. You have Babe Ruth.
Well, the point is they have 14 pitchers, including 4 starters on the IL. Roki Sasaki might not pitch again this season, so they've got to do something.
They put a bunch of relievers out in Game 3 of the World Series or whatever game that was and won easily.
But they got to get back to the World Series for that to happen.
Right, it's not ideal.
I mean, aren't they? I assume are they number 1 in the NL? Where are they?
No.
I mean, they lead their division by far.
By 2 games.
Yeah.
Mets.
Yeah, the Mets have the best.
You really think
people
that?
thought the Dodgers were going to be setting records this year for wins. Like, that has just not turned out that way.
Yeah, when you have like 4 MVPs, you're eventually going to win. You really think they need Shohei to pitch to get to the playoffs?
Yeah, to get to the playoffs, maybe not. But to advance through the playoffs, they need more pitching.
I think they cobbled it together last year and won relatively easily.
No,
they cobbled it together at the end last year.
Relatively easy. The Padres gave them a real scare.
Yeah.
That was not relatively easy.
I think they were down 2-1, right?
Yeah, they beat the Yankees easily. Sorry, Manny. But
they beat the Mets easily, too.
Also, I think if you beat
6 games.
I think if
Yeah,
you
but it
beat
was historically one-sided, the run differential.
Listen, the games we lost were not close.
if you meet the Yankees again, I find it hard to believe it's going to be that easy a second time.
I think they see the Dodgers. I think they see the Padres again. It's going to be tough. The Padres, they are not ducking any smoke. They don't whistle near the graveyard when they see the Dodgers. Like they want the smoke.
I think honestly, you might as well start trying to predict the next major golf tournament. To predict what's going to happen in the baseball playoffs has never been done correctly. It is a hodgepodge. You guys have to admit it becomes, as Billy Bean said, it's a roll of the dice. To try to strategize for the playoffs is very, very difficult.
But 2 seconds ago, you just had the Red Sox not in the playoffs. So you can't keep jumping in and out of this.
But
doesn't matter thing.
But the Dodgers have a better record now than the Red Sox.
They do, but you said you keep saying you just got to get there. The Dodgers were in position.
The Dodgers have to get there.
Theoretically couldn't get there still from this point right now.
Dodgers have a dream team, as Maggie just said out.
They do.
The Red Sox do not.
Yeah, the Dodgers are better than the Red Sox, but you're already wiping the Red Sox out right now, but leaving the other possibilities wide open for anybody.
Well, I mean, the Dodgers are leading the division. The Red Sox are 4th in their own division.
Yeah, but there's also wild cards, and it's June.
A lot of proven concepts with the Dodgers. They have Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani.
I'm not saying the Red Sox are better than the Dodgers, but on one hand, you're wiping the Red Sox out of a conversation. On the other hand, you're saying anything's possible, except the Red Sox making the playoffs. That's all.
I see what you're saying, but again, if you're managing a team, do you want to pay all that money just for a shot to get the wild card?
Well, yeah, because just getting in
is what you keep telling me.
Well, and also it's proven, right? Just getting in I know obviously the Dodgers won last year and they won the division, but just getting in really is more of you have a better shot than any other sport.
Maybe I'm foolish, but I feel like with the Red Sox, that's a team that's not a typical wild card team to me. Like if they get into the playoffs, that's a big payroll with big stars and now an ace, an absolute dog at the top of the rotation. You see them in an early 3-game series, you don't think they could beat, I don't know, one of these teams, the Mariners or
I was going to say
the Astros.
That's the other part. Let's talk about the American League, not exactly the gangbusters, murderers row that the National League is.
That's right. Go Yankees.
That's where they're going with that.
It's a positive for many.
Yeah, 500 baseball.
We also had a huge basketball trade yesterday. Yeah. The Grizzlies sending Desmond Bane to the Magic for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first-rounders, including number 16 later this month. There's a pick swap in there as well. Orlando definitely paying a lot to get the scoring and three-point shooting it lacked this past season.
A lot of first-round picks.
Yeah, it's a lot of picks. Picks don't mean anything. Just ignore the picks.
One of those picks means something. Right. There's a real pick in there.
But guys, doesn't it feel like
Phoenix pick?
Yeah, doesn't it feel like everybody that makes these big trades, if you're the one taking the picks back, you end up winning in the end? And Bane's not great.
That's what America said on this weekend.
He's very good. He's not great. It's very similar to what happened with Mikal Bridges last year.
Yeah.
Where it's like this is a team that thinks that this is the piece that they need because they have no shooting, and he's one of the best shooters. And they also need somebody who can facilitate the offense. He can do that too.
And aren't you already kind of we gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's the thing about the picks. It's not even so much necessarily this pick's going to turn into the number 1 pick in the draft.
Right.
Magic are probably going to be a perennial playoff team. The problem is you can't make any of the trades.
Yeah. The fact that you would use the picks for this move is like, wow, this was the all-in, especially because Orlando could be an interesting place to attract people. You got Florida with the no state income tax. You've got a team that was built through the draft that's up and coming.
Nice weather.
You're in the Eastern Conference. Like, there's some exciting things about Orlando, and they just pushed all their chips in the middle of the table for Desmond
And
Bain.
they haven't paid Banchero yet, right?
I think they just did.
Yeah, I think so.
I think him and Franz got paid. So
I will say one thing. I saw some metrics on Bain like that. He's no joke. Oh my God, his numbers are really good.
Well, the bigger question, I think, is the domino effect. Does this mean that's a complete fire sale in Memphis? We talk about the Orlando side, but also does this mean John Morant is first, on the block? Does this mean Jaren Jackson Jr. is on the block?
Oh, yeah.
Complete teardown.
But one quick thing about Bain. Bain is 26 and shoots about 40% from three in real action and can play defense.
Yep.
Like, I'd much rather take that than a 36-year-old Kevin Durant or something like that.
Banchero's still on his rookie, by the way.
But I don't think, was Kevin Durant really, did that make any sense?
Oh, I don't think they had any interest in Kevin Durant. I'm just saying I'd rather take a 26-year-old really, really good player. And
that's what the Knicks thought.
The reality is, though, I don't know if they would have needed to give up 4 firsts for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's on a 1-year deal. Kevin Durant is older. That's the thing. The other thing, too, about this, again, not getting into the weeds of the Magic, but Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has a contract that is deemed to be one of the worst in the NBA. I think it's a little dramatic, but he is making almost $25 million at one of his worst seasons. So some of this draft capital is for the Magic to simply get that contract off their books.
Wendy said 2 of the first-round picks are to get rid of KCP.
Yeah.
No contract's worse than Bradley Beal.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, KCP was not good for the Magic. It may have just been a bad fit. I actually think that he could still help somebody. But when we see the 4 first-rounders, some of that has to do with the KCP deal.
Why would they do that?
It's the season of windy fingers.
Oh, yeah.
888-710.
Why would the Jazz do that?
For ISN. 888-710-4476. Okay, so the trade news really, this is Major League Baseball's day with Rafael Devers going from Boston to San Francisco. We got our 4 sports gods of the Bay Area there for you to react to. Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Steph Curry, both make Perloff and I's Mount Olympus. I have Willie Mays. He has Barry Bonds. 888-710-4ISN. And we mentioned it, the Cowboys. What Dak Prescott have to say, we'll tell you next.
I'm the petty king.
You're in a 5-minute break.
I gotta wait. You gotta wait. I know that.
Is this the first time you've ever sung?
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
We need to help him
Good
out here.
time never seemed so good.
So good! So good! So good!
I've been inclined bum, 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 to believe
Now you feel it.
they never would. Good times never seem so good. So good! So good!
So good!
I've been inclined.
Now you feel it. Let's go.
To believe they never would.
All right, wow.
Is this now? Bill, make me want to shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Come on now. Come on now. The Bills are making it happen now. Stand up and come on and shout. Yeah. Yeah. Come on and shout. Kick it up now. Shout, 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 shout. Bills are making it happen now. Go Josh Allen. Freddie Jackson. Eric Moulds. Makes me want to shout, 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 shout. I can't follow all the lyrics here. Bills, Bills, Bills. Hey,
Peerless Price.
Hey.
Eagles fly on the road to victory. Hey, Robin, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. My name is Robin from San Francisco, not San Fran.
I know you sports people do that.
Did I say San Fran? I think I said San Francisco.
No, you said San Fran. That's what set me off to call you. The name of our city is San Francisco. The second thing I'd like to say, okay, we hate that. We locals hate that. The name of our city is San Francisco. Unless you were watching a different game than what I was watching,
yeah,
I think that 2 runs that Brock Purdy had something to do with them advancing and winning this game.
Robin, I said he used his legs and his scrambling kept the comeback alive. I think you kind of have an axe to grind with me beyond the Brock Purdy.
I have an axe to grind to you. No, I don't have. Don't project to me. I'm telling you what I heard and what I.
Okay, well, the first thing you said to me was, "Don't call our city San Fran," like you were wildly offended, which I don't even know if I said that.
I am offended by it because
that's insane to be offended by that.
You are such a smart aleck. Bye.
I'm not a smart aleck. I just don't want to get a. I think she kind of had it out for me a little bit before we even got started there. San Fran is offended. Did I even say San Fran?
I don't know if you said, but I'm with Robin.
Hey, Robin, how you doing?
Yeah. I'm doing fine. My name is Robin from San Francisco, not San Fran.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. That music means the Cowboy Quickie and Dak Prescott, Pearl, saying he needs to win a championship so bad, not for his legacy, for his sanity.
Yeah, I want to win a championship. The legacy, the things, whatever comes after I finish playing will take care of itself. I want to win a championship. Be damned if it's just for my legacy or it's for this team, for my personal being, for my sanity. Yeah, the legacy will take care of itself. I have to stay where my feet are.
So he was responding to a question about how he's going to hold all these all-time records when all is said and done for the Cowboys. It's going to be much bigger records than Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. He's already passed them.
Staubach.
Yeah, and a lot of different metrics. So now he needs a championship for his sanity. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of pressure on every quarterback to win. It feels like there's a little extra on him because not only is he a Dallas Cowboys quarterback, he's the highest paid quarterback. Really, probably will end up being one of the highest paid in all time. I know Rodgers, I think, is number one, but I think Dak, if he continues to play, will chase him because dude's making $60 million a year. I totally understand this. I just don't think it's realistic.
It's going to be tough. That's your Cowboy Quickie. So
it doesn't feel like he's on the brink of winning a Super Bowl, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, he keeps getting hurt, which is a bummer and not his fault. But, he's got Jerry, which is obviously a pretty big obstacle, even though you think Jerry's just a symbolic figure at this point and other people are really pulling the strings. I guess the sanity part of it, I can understand because he probably looks back on a lot of playoff games and is like, what was I thinking? He has a lot of personal regret, I imagine, for a lot of those games. You got the great game of him beating Tom Brady and the Bucs in the playoffs, and you could hold that one up and say, wow, he was excellent. But, he's probably goes back in his mind over certain games like the loss at home to San Francisco, the loss at home to Green Bay, and you think like, I could have been so much better in those games.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, he had Nick Bosa bearing down on him in one of those games.
These were close games, though.
Yeah, one time, was it Noah Brown? He hit a receiver in the chest and bounced up, and they were the inferior team, it felt like to me.
See, they were 7.5-point favorites against Green Bay. I mean, I know they couldn't stop the run that day, but he was
the game
also
that they
not
got blown
good.
out.
He was not good in that game.
Oh, yeah, but there's no way you walked away from that and said, this is a Dak Prescott problem. They was 48 points scored on them.
No,
they got run all over. Yeah, again, like I don't really look at Dak. I think Dak is on the wrong team to win a Super Bowl. I think he's probably good enough to win a Super Bowl in the sense that you don't have to be Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has just won one and was close in another one. I think he's a good enough quarterback to win a Super Bowl, but not on that team because I think you said Jerry is the obstacle. They don't feel like they're right there. In fact, and they don't feel like they're headed in the right direction either. So I hate to say it, for Dak Prescott's sanity, I just don't see it happening.
I don't trust Dak Prescott in a big game at all.
On the right team, you wouldn't trust him? You don't think if he got hooked up with the right coaching staff?
You could drive yourself crazy with that.
I just think I don't see it as a Dak problem.
Is it San Francisco's
if he
the
was
perfect
the Eagles
team?
quarterback? If he was the Eagles quarterback with Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown,
that offensive line,
that defensive line that killed Patrick Mahomes, yes, I think that he could be close. I think almost you're presenting him as a playoff choker. And those games to me were not all about Dak.
Oh, you and I will never see that San Francisco loss the same.
Which one?
The loss to Jimmy Garoppolo.
The one where he
was running in the middle of the field as time's running out.
30 seconds to get 80 yards. They were like a minus, San Francisco was like minus 800. That was not like, first of all,
they were favorites in that game and they were home.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but again, they lost to a very, very good team, like an outstanding team.
We didn't know they were that good, though.
Yeah, I know, but then history showed, oh my God, look at Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and all those. I think Bosa was there. I'm getting the years confused. Then they were really, really close in the one in San Francisco.
That's what I'm saying.
But that was not on Dak. Like a lot of people made big mistakes in that game.
I don't trust him. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So when he talks about Dak Prescott saying he needs to win a championship for his sanity, I think he's the only reason he's driving himself insane is because he has to be going back over these games like, oh my gosh, I could have done this, I could have done that.
Yeah, I could have played linebacker and stopped run game. I don't know what you think, especially the Green Bay game. Wait, like everybody faltered in that game. And he wasn't even that bad.
I think
threw for 400 yards in that game.
And when did those yards come? When that game was beyond out of hand.
He could have had probably one of the top 10 games in NFL history, and they would have lost. Because Green Bay, every time they touched the ball, scored.
Yeah, but you also can sustain drives to try to keep the Green Bay offense off the field.
They were going 8 yards a carry. I don't know how long you want to sustain this drive for 53 minutes, Maggie?
I didn't love it. 888-710-4ISN. I think he gets cover, too, because obviously the big headline was how they got gashed on the run game.
Yeah, they lost 48-32, and that's a quarterback. I know he wasn't great. And by the way, CeeDee Lamb was even worse than he was.
Yeah, they were both bad. But you're talking about he's the one who's saying, I need to win for my sanity. I don't know if CeeDee Lamb this is keeping him up at night. I have no idea. It might be. But now we're going to see because George Pickens is to the rescue. That's reliable dude.
That's going to fix everything.
Yeah. I actually do think they're going to be better. I did like the Pickens choice, the Pickens trade. I don't think there's a huge downside. I don't think you can implode the Dallas Cowboys from the wide receiver position.
They have real problems. They have some key players who are coming off major injuries who may or may not be there. They have this ridiculously hard schedule. They still haven't convinced anyone they fix their run defense permanently. They basically, if you
new head coach,
they keep drafting offensive linemen, so they should be able to run the ball. But I just don't know.
The Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff, the four sports gods from all the great cities and areas of this country. Today we're out west, the Bay Area. Who made our Mount Olympus and who got left off? Tell you more about that next. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Andrew Bogusch, he's a man on the scene. Once a proud Ford mail him like Mike Breen. But now he's gone rogue, yeah, he's breaking the code. Backstabbing Breen while he steals the show.
Late night vibes hitting up the show. Maggie and Perloff dropping tapes that glow. And the chat's done a feel low, runs the scene. Spitting fire so hot it makes the snow seem mean. Down in Louisiana, Drunk Sam's lit. Rare snow on the ground, but he don't give a shit. Snow in the south, man, what the fuck's this? While Bilott's ghosting work, he's always dismissed. Stunning film low, dropping shit like whoa. Down in San Antonio, there's
Amy Lawrence in her power. But wait, hold up, no seat in sight. Her chair is gone this quiet night. Odyssey's finest, infinity's pride. Now Amy's pacing, no place to slide. She scans the room, but it's just air. A burning question, who took my chair? Ooh, who stole Amy's chair? Was it Zach Chubb with his innocent stare? Or Ryan Hickey with his towering hair? It's not Pete Bellotti, he's never there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? Zach says, hey, I didn't steal, I never mess with Amy's wheels. Ryan's hair is high and proud, but he swears he's innocent. Yelling out loud, I got no motive, I'm just tall. His hair almost scrapes the studio wall. But Amy's still standing, no time for lies. Someone's gonna pay no more alibis. Who stole Amy's chair? Was it Zach Chubb with his innocent stare? Or Ryan Hickey with his towering hair? It's not Pete Bellotti, he's never there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? The chair is gone, Amy's on fire. Infinity Sports has one desire: return the throne before the show, or Amy's wrath will surely glow. Who stole Amy's chair? Zach and Ryan, do you even care? Is it hidden under Hickey's hair? Or maybe Gubbs got it, he swears, I swear. It's not Pete Bellotti, he's still not there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? So if you see a chair on the go, rolling around on some late night show, call Infinity, Odyssey 2. Amy's coming, and she's looking for you.
One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Unbelievable finish yesterday at the U.S. Open. We got a major baseball trade that happened yesterday as well. What a Father's Day. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Pearl, as a dad, first of all, happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
What was the one thing you got fixated on the most? Was it the U.S. Open ending with J.J. Spawn of Los Angeles winning, or was it the Devers trade?
Oh, my God. The U.S. Open was the most perfect Father's Day U.S. Open, except for the rain delay. J.J. Spawn is unathletic looking. He had his family there with his 2 kids. Apparently, he was up late last night because his daughter was throwing up all night. And he had to go to get medicine.
Doesn't get more dad than that.
Blew the TPC earlier and almost quit golf last year in June. This was the ultimate non-athletic dad sitting on the couch event. And not only that, I thought the course made it incredibly dramatic. I love seeing these guys. Every shot you had to watch closely, every drive, because if it just went 3 feet to the right, you're in grass that is up to your knees. It was one of the most dramatic dramatic days I've seen. But the other thing too was you had no idea who was going to be in play. Scottie Scheffler was getting close to being in the lead. He almost went in at a +3 to be the leader in the clubhouse at the end. And he really easily, he missed a couple easy putts, could have been +1 and really been in this tournament. So it was totally exciting to me. And then when Spawn almost had a hole-in-one on a par 4, that was one of the most incredible shots I've ever seen. And then to hit the 64-footer to win it, you could not invent a more dramatic Father's Day victory.
Here's what it sounded like yesterday as Spawn is sinking that birdie putt. Thank you to NBC for that. And it was he's the only golfer who finished under par. It was unreal how the weather really wreaked havoc. The course is already impossible. And then the weather yesterday, where you mentioned the hour-and-a-half rain delay, the torrential downpours, it's raining throughout the back nine. You're fighting daylight, which is disappearing quickly. And of all the dramatic and difficult shots, he has to hit he didn't have to, but he hit a 64-foot birdie putt to win it, which would be impossible to make even on the best conditions and the most perfect course.
Right. I mean, the weather actually helped him. After the rain delay, he was a different golfer.
Yeah. Said he changed his whole outfit, like he changed everything up.
Got a mental break, but also, too, I don't think he could have been as aggressive on that putt if it was dry and sunny, because that might have gone. That's the other thing, too. The sun would have been, a dry, sunny day on that course would have been a disaster, too. So it was like the rain slowed down the greens, which helped him a lot. Otherwise, he would have been in big trouble. But I thought it was incredible drama. And here's the thing. People are saying the course is too hard. The U.S. Open, Tiger, they showed the rain delay game. During the rain delay, they showed Tiger beat Rocco Mediate. They were both at even when the course ended. That's one of the great tournaments of all time. So I don't want to hear the course was too hard. That means nothing historically.
Yeah. Do you have a problem with basically an impossible kind of course? You could hear guys cursing. You know, well, I guess that's not that unexpected, but
breaking clubs almost.
Guys are just
just like us.
They're hating.
Out here, Detroit.
Sorta. That's what EJ sounds like on a golf course. Here's JJ Spawn on the weather conditions yesterday.
It was super wet, but it was similar to like yesterday. The greens slowed down quite a bit. But I knew, with my iron game, as long as I got in the fairway, I could attack because of how soft it got. I mean, it was already pretty soft. So that's kind of, I kind of relied on the experience yesterday.
Okay, so of course, JJ Spawn, LA native, huge LA sports fan. He compared his final putt to a very famous NBA game winner. Yeah,
that was unbelievable. That was more like the Fisher shot with like 0.2 seconds left.
The Knicks coach?
But yeah, I was just, I couldn't even believe what I witnessed when that went in. Kind of like a Nick Taylor moment, but for the U.S. Open.
Okay, so that's a deep cut. It's that 04 Lakers team beat the Spurs with Derek Fisher hitting the game winner and then just running right off the court, which is just an all-timer. So there you go, JJ Spawn. But the question really is, do you feel like that course was so hard, too hard, that it actually made it not fun. You
I'm
loved
not
it,
for me. I
EJ.
loved
You
it.
hate this. And
Yeah.
so, EJ, this is tough because I actually do like watching these guys kind of struggle and have to hit these crazy shots, and the greens are nuts.
This crap is crap.
But it's weird because I am with you about wanting to see football in a dome, which I get clowned for incessantly because I'm a Bills fan and everyone thinks I should love like disgusting weather.
Wait, but clarify though. You want that because you think it fits the team, not because you enjoy football in a dome.
No, I don't think, yes, it's very specific. I don't think this Buffalo Bills team is actually that great in weather. So I'd rather them have perfect conditions. But that's my fandom kind of bleeding into this thing. And watching snow games is super fun, but is it great football? They say wind is actually the worst thing, even more than snow and rain for football. But this is the thing. With football, it's like you get one shot at winning a title, right? You have to go through the playoffs, and there's just one thing. These are a lot of different majors. They all have different flavors, right? They all have different quirks and things about them. The Masters is unique for one reason. The Players is different for another. The Open Championship, the British Open, is different for another. So I don't mind when the U.S. Open is insanely hard because everyone knows it going in. It's not like a squall just moves in and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? We know that the course is going to be insanely tough.
Yeah, I mean, what's memorable about the PGA Championship where basically Scheffler ran away with it. It was, to me, the elements add to it. It's kind of like a snow game. And you remember snow games throughout history. You don't really remember the dome games for the elements. I mean, there's some, obviously they're great dome games, but you don't remember them because they were in a dome. You remember like weather. You remember Raiders, Patriots in 2001. Those stick in the memory. And I think it makes football special. I'm a big NFL films guy. You really you never hear John Facenda talking about and the lights at the top of the dome. No, you hear about the snowfall and the wind and the weather and the autumn wind and all that stuff. Elements are part of football, and I think they're part of golf. Also, the strategy was incredible. Like what guys had to adjust to, that to me was remarkable. The guys who could survive that course. It says a lot.
You may remember J.J. Spawn. I know EJ's shaking his head. He didn't like what he saw yesterday, facing off at the Players' Championship against Rory.
Yeah, he blew that one.
He did. And so now he got his revenge yesterday. And the funny part about it being Father's Day and his daughter's up in the middle of the night puking, and he's got to go to CVS to get the drugs and have her feel better. And that's why he got off to a slow start.
It was, and you got the sense. And listen, it's just a snapshot. Like seemed like a very tight family, which is kind of fun. Like the wife and you could heard her exhale too, because I guess he's had a really tough road here. Really bottomed out last year around June, lost his confidence. Great story. Seems like an incredibly likable guy. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But I thought it was a perfect Father's Day.
It was fun, that's for sure. Although EJ was hating it.
Oh. Yeah,
What about Mr. Stewart? Did your dad like it?
My dad was not watching the U.S. Open. I don't know. There was maybe he was playing video games. I don't know what he was doing. He wasn't watching golf.
All right.
You actively hated this?
I think the overall weekend, right? The ending was awesome. The moments were awesome. With the guy went in and his daughter being there, that's great. All that's fine. Again, I want to see the elite athletes at their best. So, when Perloff said, to see someone survive the course, that's when Maggie said I had the face. That my face literally recoiled. I'm just sports shouldn't be about surviving. Sports should be about excelling. That's literally what we want to see. We want to see excellence when we see professional athletes. And I guess there's an argument to be made that it takes excellence to survive a course like that. And I'm not saying I want the PGA Tour either. I'm not a PGA Championship. It's not as important. So, no, I don't want the PGA Championship. But the Masters, I think, is a great balance. It is tricky, it's difficult, but it also allows you to see these guys at their best. And to me, you see guys really going shot for shot. To me, you could win this course simply by, again, not blowing up, unlike other guys who lost this thing on Friday or Thursday because the conditions of the actual course, not even the weather, were just so difficult.
I think there's a part of it where this actually proves the excellence, right? And not every guy is going to be, Scotty Scheffler, who would probably win if the conditions were perfect, but you got something different because J.J. Spawn was able to still continue to attack. I kind of loved it. I really did. It was an amazing ending. And of course, that shot, that putt is going to live on forever.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it becomes whether you're at -1 or -10. I mean, it's going to become competition. Like I like to see the pressure, like on Justin Rose earlier this year. Like I like to see how these guys respond. And it's. I know the weather was a big deal in the conditions, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, man, can I hit this putt with everything riding on me, no matter what the conditions are.
Does this count for my slump buster, drought buster?
Here we
Guy
go.
never won.
Here we go.
How young is he?
I think he's 30 or something.
I mean, not to make it about me, but I did declare 2025 the year of the drought buster
34
/ slump buster.
But
Never won a major before. Now here we are.
Did anyone, if you can Google JJ Spawn broke his drought or the word drought, then I'll give it to you.
I don't think. I can't get this to you, man.
The game basically broke his spirit. It broke his confidence. He had to build himself back up. He said, "I was good. I thought I was going to lose my job, and here he is now."
Build me up, build me up.
I mean, lost to Rory McIlroy at the Players.
That built him up.
In a 3-hole aggregate playoff.
Oh, yeah.
No? Anyone?
Well, had he won then, would it still be would he have slumped
drought busted?
Yeah.
No, Rory is a big linchpin of my whole argument 2025. Let's get to the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff. Love it. All right, Pearl. Today, the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff takes us to the Bay Area, the site of actually big news today. Rafael Devers was traded from the Boston Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants, which we will unpack in just a moment. But the Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from the Bay Area. So this is San Francisco and Oakland. This is difficult. How'd you do? What'd you come up with?
Okay, I went with Montana, Rice, Steph Curry. My 4th spot, how to get a Giant on there. I went with Barry Bonds because every time I'm out in the Bay Area, he is treated like a god.
Yeah, you and I are in lockstep on 3 out of the 4 of these. I think Joe Montana and Jerry Rice unassailable, unless you wanted to somehow put Bill Walsh in, but I don't know who he would go in over. Is he over Joe Montana? That doesn't sound right. Is he in over Jerry Rice again?
Well, I would even put Bill Walsh 5th.
Really? Because
I would put one of the other famous Giants.
I'm just saying the architect of those 49ers, of the 49ers dynasty.
Right.
Would he get in over a player?
But the faces of those dynasties were the players, I think. You know, Walsh was a big deal. I put Tom Landry on Dallas because, like, that hat and that outfit was iconic. Bill Walsh was there, one of the great coaches of all time. But the faces and the sports gods, you say Montana and Rice, everyone knows exactly what you mean.
It's so interesting because for most of my life, those 2 guys were the GOATs. They were the greatest players.
Yep,
and then
greatest quarterback, greatest receiver.
No doubt. And then a guy named Tom Brady came along and just the whole conversation got completely tilted over the last 20 years. But anyway, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, no-brainer. Steph Curry, I'm with you. Greatest shooter of all time, brought consistency, a new identity to the Golden State Warriors, just 4-time champ, and also the unlikeliness of Steph Curry. There's a connection of him being the unlikely hero that I think puts him in a different stratosphere. And I don't know if Steve Kerr could have possibly been on this Mount Olympus. Anyway, Steph Curry.
No, that one I would not.
Definitely deserves it. And
Steve Kerr, even more than Walsh, he feels in the background. Like,
yeah.
I would say if you're going to put a second word, it would be Klay Thompson, but
could have been Klay Thompson, no doubt.
Rick Barry, too, gets a little shout out.
My 4th sports god of the Bay Area is got to be Willie Mays. I'm not giving it to Bonds. I know the people in the Bay Area love Barry Bonds, so I'm not oblivious to that. But Barry Bonds also is part of a shameful era that is not remembered so fondly by a lot of people in baseball, whereas Willie Mays is say, hey, kid. This is, everyone can feel great about Willie Mays. He had to endure some terrible racism, things that happened with him trying to buy a house in San Francisco and getting, blackballed to that and couldn't be in a predominantly white neighborhood. There's things the story's not perfect, that Hollywood, it's real life. But he never brought shame on the San Francisco 49ers like Barry did.
Yeah, but did you ever get in a kayak and try and chase a Willie Mays home run ball?
I did not. That would have been cool, though.
That was a big part of that story, but Coveyco. Obviously Willie Mays, hard to argue with that.
no Raiders on this list also.
No Raiders. Wait, that's not the only team.
No Athletics.
No A's, yeah. I mean, the A's are a big deal, too. It's tough. That dumb Niners 80s, it's hard to keep those guys off. Montana and Rice, just say those names. They were instantly on. The one, the shakiest one to me might be Steph Curry, and I don't know why, because when I think of the Bay Area, and people can call and correct me, I don't think of it as a basketball town. I think of it like the Giants are such a huge part of San Francisco's identity. The Raiders were big in Oakland, and the Niners are huge. I just don't think of it as basketball.
I think Steph Curry changed a lot of that, though. I think it's also because the Warriors had not been like a consistent winner. There were these great eras, right, with Jamal Wilkes, and you mentioned Rick Barry, and then also with Run TMC. But then Steph brought something that was just a rocket ship. I mean, they are the blueprint for the modern dynasty.
Absolutely.
And I think Oakland does have a pretty rich basketball history. You talked about, I got crucified on the show because I put Gary Payton in my Oregon, Portland area Mount Rushmore, but Gary Payton, obviously, Dame Lillard, like the guys who were raised there is a basketball culture.
Well, yes.
But the Warriors were a laughingstock for in between some of those high points.
But if you think of great athletes from the Bay Area, I'm not sure it automatically goes basketball either. I mean, it's a big football area too. Obviously, if you're doing from
basketball,
what's that?
Bay Area basketball is huge.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think of great athletes from the Bay Area, I mean, I think you immediately get into DiMaggio, you get into Brady. Those are, if you want to get into that game, because there are a ton of athletes from that part of the world.
Point guards, Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, and Dame Lillard. That is as good as it gets when it comes to guard play.
It's as good as anything New York. We put it up against New York point guards, to be honest. And everyone thinks New York is the Mecca.
Not thanks.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
I mean, if we're doing from the Bay Area and guys who come back there, like Marshawn Lynch is like, by personality, just wins that debate.
Well, and Cal, and also he did play for the Raiders, but so we're obviously, for the team sport guys.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
We're not doing guys who are from that area, but we could have a robust conversation about that when it comes to the Bay Area. Instead, we're doing team sport dudes. Big thing. I'd love to hear from people in the Bay Area. Is Barry Bonds more of a sports god than Willie Mays or any other Giant? Because we could put other Giants, more recent Giants up there. The Madison Bumgarners, Buster Posey, who pulled off this blockbuster yesterday as part of the front office.
That's another
for
negative
Devers.
question.
Juan Marichal and Willie McCovey. I mean, those are huge names in baseball history.
Massive figures. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Is Bonds deserve to be the Giants' representative on this Mount Olympus?
EJ mentioned one too. Ricky Henderson, I feel like he played too many places to get in any of these Mount Olympuses, but I count him as a sports god in general. He's a general sports god.
Well, Reggie Jackson would be the other one, but Reggie also...
I think you might put Ricky over Reggie.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Reggie didn't spend that many years in Oakland. How many... I'm curious you spent more time, and also the Bash Brothers as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ricky...
And Eckersley, too. I said Raleigh Fingers earlier. I meant Eck.
I think Ricky would be there... I think it would be Reggie. The only thing is that Reggie also has this incredible postseason legacy with the Yankees. I'm not saying that you can't do both. It's just he's split.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's more of an A than a Yankee. I think. Actually, that felt weird coming out of my mouth, actually.
I think he's more of an A than a Yankee.
Who's Reggie Jackson?
I think he is, yeah.
Wow. I think you're wrong about that one.
He was an MVP somewhere, and it was not New York.
Yeah, but he's a 3 home runs in one World Series game.
I mean, it's one game, but I'm talking about him as an overall player.
But he was really great in New York, too. And the battles back and forth with Billy Martin.
Right, but he won championships in Oakland.
No, he won them both places. I know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's in the Hall with a Yankee hat. I don't think there's any question about that.
Is he?
Definitely. He's
Can
a
we
Yankee.
find his
He's one of the most famous Yankees of all time.
Can we find his Cooperstown plaque, please? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
That's a Yankee hat.
76.
Oh, yeah.
That is kind of crazy.
I mean, come on. How many years was he actually in Oakland? I mean, like...
stand by. We'll get that for you.
Yeah, I thought I saw it was I think he played, because he played 1 year in Kansas City, too, when they were the Kansas City Athletics.
68 through 75, and then returned in 87.
So, but 1 year in KC, so it was like 7 years. Anyway, I agree with Maggie. Like the World Series of Reggie Jackson will be part of
his top season with WAR are all with the A's. 69, 73, and 75. He doesn't have a Yankee season that's anywhere close to his numbers with the A's.
I get it, but again, you want to go. I know, but you want to go to moments. I mean, he's got one of the most famous postseason games ever, EJ. Ever.
This is not a debate. If we put a poll up, it's 80 to 20.
This is now going to bleed out to a Reggie Jackson debate.
I don't
Is
think
Reggie Jackson more an A or a Yankee? Just put it up.
Let's bet lunch on the results of that one, EJ.
It doesn't mean people are right if they say it. I mean, the stats are the stats.
Let's go to the phones. 888-710-4ISN. Chris is in Vancouver. Chris, you think we left off some major sports gods of the Bay Area. Go ahead.
Yeah. Perloff nailed all four, I believe, but I like to stir the drink a little bit here. So I'm gonna start off with and I got a question for you, Maggie. What's the biggest sport in America?
Football.
Biggest league. Thank you. So what about Al Davis?
I know this is tough,
Sorry.
but he also moved the team from the Bay Area, though, Chris.
Twice.
He came back, and
he left again. His family left. Sorry, I think he was gone by then. But yeah,
he was.
Yeah, and then he gave birth to one of the greatest haircuts of all time.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I also got, only because my wife will kill me if I leave this guy off the list, Buster Posey. He won 3 World Series championships. How many did Barry Bonds win? And then you also got very influential video game, John Madden.
So here's the thing, Chris. We thought about John Madden, but let's say for a coach, and I know the video game and the announcer and all of that, but would you put him over Bill Walsh as far as coaches in the Bay Area?
No.
Right.
But I'm here to stir the drink. So
you're the straw, Chris, that stirs the drink.
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson would approve. Thank you for that.
The problem with this whole exercise is there's only 4 choices. Yeah, of course, and a lot of people deserve recognition, but you have to take someone off.
Yeah, if you put Buster Posey on, are you taking off Willie Mays?
Right, exactly.
And I know Posey won more, but are you taking off Barry? Yes, Posey won more. Why not make that Madison Bumgarner? I know Posey was playing a more difficult position and catching and playing every day, but Madison Bumgarner might be the greatest postseason pitcher ever.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, let's not forget the old guys, too. I'm telling you, watch some documentaries on those old Giants. They were amazing and huge stars.
And let's not forget Shallow.
It's totally out of context. It still makes me laugh all the time. See you guys on the phones. Let's do this. The Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from the Bay Area. We get to you in just a moment. Also, the M&P 500, whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a huge weekend. We'll do that next.
Hennessy.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
You were the moment that made us proud. The voice that cut through all the noise, the calm, the chaos, the steady voice. You showed up when no one came, lit the match, then took the blame. And though time tries to wash it clean, your shadow stays in every scene. We can't forget your love. The streets still whisper when we walk alone. Every corner's got a memory carved in stone. You're the chapter we keep rereading slow. We can't forget, we won't forget your love. The joke to fight the right, the deep down reason we survived. And even when the years start to blur, there's one name we always remember. Should up when no one came, lit the match, then took the blame. Lit the match, then took the blame. And lit the match, then took the blame. The streets still whisper when we walk alone. Every corner's got a memory carved in stone. You're the chapter we keep rereading slow. You can't forget, we won't forget your love. We won't forget your love. You're the joke, fight the right, deep down reason we survive. And even when the years start to blur, there's one name we always remember. Sheila, louder than time, we're right now, forever in the house.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Mount Olympus, 4 sports gods from every major sports city. Today is the Bay Area. Oakland, San Francisco, so tough. So many teams, so many great players. Feels like all-time players to choose from. We had a tough choice. I went with Steph Curry, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and my controversial pick, Barry Bonds.
Yeah, I went with Rice and Montana as well. Got to put Steph Curry on. Must be there. And then I went with Willie Mays, though, over Barry Bonds. Let's go to Mike, who's in California. Mike, you disagree with me about Mays. You agree with Perloff. Barry Bonds has to be a sports god.
Definitely. Barry Bonds, hands down, the greatest baseball player I've ever seen. To have a baseball Hall of Fame and not have Barry Bonds in it, inducted in it, is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, put an asterisk by his name, fine, but to have a baseball Hall of Fame and not have Barry Bonds in that is just ludicrous. Barry Bonds is the only player that people would stop whatever they were doing when he came to bat. It didn't matter what they were doing, they would stop, put it down, and they'd have to watch Barry Bonds bat. I mean, the guy's amazing, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, but Mike, couldn't we have said that about McGuire and Canseco when they were the Bash brothers with the A's? Like, what we know now is that it was tainted. That doesn't matter at all?
Definitely, but like you said before, Barry Bonds was on a Hall of Fame career when he was on the Pirates before he was even a Giant.
Right, but that was before the Giants. We're talking about Bay Area sports gods.
Definitely, but I think Barry Bonds is hands down. I mean, and you know what? To be honest with you, the only guy who I think is like that is the guy that the Dodgers have, Ohtani.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely up there as well. I mean, he's another one who I would stop and just to see him.
I'll give you one more, Mike. I stopped Ken Griffey Jr. That's the one guy I would always watch no matter when he was up. Can you buy that one?
I do. I agree with you there for sure. Definitely.
Mike, just a programming note, too. Shohei Ohtani is going to be on the mound tonight. So how about that? If you think the at-bats are must-see, he's going to be the opener tonight for the Dodgers against the Padres, right? Yeah. So we get him back on the mound after, 22 months away.
You know what it is? I'm such a sucker for a lefty. I'd watch Barry Bonds. I'd watch Ken Griffey Jr. I'd watch Shohei. I'd watch Bryce Harper. Like Mark McGwire, for some reason, I don't know what it is. I'm obsessed with lefty hitters. Always have been. It's something about the swing, the most natural baseball swing, a lefty, the famous all-time hitters. Just a sucker for that. That's kind of why I put Barry Bonds on there.
Over Willie Mays because he's a righty?
The highlights of Barry Bonds are incredible. When he got a hold of one during his peak, which I know was tainted, and unbelievable.
I think there was, you mentioned it before, there's like a circle the wagons situation with Bonds. Like, I think that's a big part of it for people in the Bay Area. And you can call up and tell us if we're right or wrong at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. It's like, he was controversial, but he's our guy, right? Like, we protect him. He will always be a god in our city, even if the rest of baseball's kind of turned their back on Barry Bonds. Let's get to our pal, Big Friendly, who I'm told had a very memorable appearance on the Maggie and Perloff show on Friday. Good morning, Big Friendly.
Good morning, Maggie Malone, and welcome back.
Thank you.
And real quick, can I just comment on the last caller?
Sure.
The reason why Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame because he couldn't stop wheezing the juice.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they said at Cooperstown. If you weren't wheezing the juice, you'd be in.
Right?
You're saying he got 100 on the test. He just did too much juice?
I'm just saying that man was the best person in class when it came to that assignment. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, Big Friendly, can we go back to old business from Friday? Because I missed it, but clearly I caught the social media clips of you, Maggie and Perloff, on the X feed. You're on our Instagram. You're all over the place.
You want to go where the women are?
No, not that part. You said that you have to be within smell range.
Smelling range. Okay. Now, I get a little nervous sometimes and I talk faster than I think. Forgive me. What I was trying to say, and Magsy, you being a woman, so thank you. I was trying to explain to him he needs to be close enough to women where they can get whiffs of his cologne. Then they're going to be looking and trying to figure out where that's coming from. When they find where it's coming from, they're going to approach Manny. Hey, I don't mean to be rude, but what are you wearing? Manny, I was trying to tell you it was in the reply. Now, sweetheart, if I told you what I was wearing, you'd buy it for somebody else. You wouldn't admire how I smell. Bam! My name is Daniel. How you doing?
Let me digest that.
I got more hits than Pete Rose in this game.
Yeah,
not lying.
I know, Big Friendly. According to you.
Take it. No.
Google. I can give you my government name. You can Google me. I got receipts, baby.
Yes.
I got receipts.
Okay, wait, Manny.
Let
You're
me
not
get my
a cologne
phone
wearer, I don't think.
I dabble.
You smell of pine tar.
I did put some on Friday night when I went out at Big Friendly's request, but I did not go to my local D&B.
What did you, okay. Paco Rabanne, like what are you wearing?
Polo by Ralph Lauren.
Okay, classic.
Manny Wapo, it's eternity. It's Manny Dollars. Come on, Manny Dollars, Manny Big Bucks. Baby, you got to wear the stuff that makes them, who is that? Stop the press. That's what you need, baby.
Yeah.
Stop the press. So here, Big Friendly, can I give the female perspective on this? I've never...
60% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah. What's that, Sex Panther?
That does make sense.
I think I've never asked a man what he's wearing, like cologne-wise. If I like the smell, you're right. Guys smelling good is not a bad thing. I'm going to be with you on that one. But I've never been like, whoa, what's that?
I'm 100%. Formidable scent.
I just want to be on the record. I'm 100% listening to Big Friendly and not you on this one, Maggie. I've heard your ideas to hook up Manny. No. Big Friendly, you're in charge of this project, not Maggie.
Maggie.
I'll sit this one out.
Once again, I'm older, and I've worked at bars for 20-some years.
Yeah.
So
you've seen it all.
I've been in places. I've seen women. So what I have noticed, this is just
Maggie
my personal
is a
opinion,
woman, though.
Yes, I know she is. And Bogusch, you being a happily married man. Bogusch, you being a happily married man, how do you know where the women are? That's another call.
You're right. I don't. My one plan is to badger her until she gave in to like me. It took 4 years. I would not tell Manny to go down that road.
Okay, so I'm just trying to help out my man Manny Big Bucks because I think the Latin lover needs to have a queen next to his side. That's all I was doing.
We're all here for Manny finding love. We're all on the same page. It's just how we're all going to get there. It's
so
5
before you
different
guys
routes.
cut me off, because I know you got to get rid of me, I have my 4, and I have a poem for the Bay Area real quick.
Okay, give us your Mount Olympus first.
My 4, I'm going to go with Todd Christensen, Art Shell, and Howie Long. And since you guys have changed the rules, I'm not gonna stir the drink. I'm gonna spill it all over the table. I'm gonna go with Bill Russell for the San Francisco Dons, 63 and 65 national championship titles.
Crazy. How did Bill Russell win 2? Because wasn't San Francisco, they had a run recently in basketball? Like, that is a program that did not deserve to win 2 titles.
Now, can I give you my Bay Area poem? And Daddy Cool, I got something for you on Friday.
Okay.
So here we go real quick. And this is to the lady that a lot of people may not remember, but you play the soundbite a lot. Getting upset over something you think someone said. Man, those Niner losses are really getting to your head. All you smell is doom and dread for your team in gold and red. For your team, having the lead is scary enough because bang, bang, Niner gang still isn't tough enough. Other teams in championship games should give you a 10-point start because by the fourth quarter, you run out of steam and heart. I'll say San Fran, Frisco, and the team by the Bay. Wait a minute. Wasn't their old stadium by the Tenderloin back in the day? Oh, well, have it your way. If Kyle Shanahan, I can't keep a lead hand is your guy, the way he lose leads, why not give Beavis and Butthead a try? AD has retired. That part is true. The Niners have not won a championship since 1995, boo. And I'm out of here. Mic drop.
Wow.
Wow.
That was way better than I expected.
Big
That
friendly.
was, like, incredible.
Snaps or Big Friendly coffee shop.
That was...
For a second, when he said he smells like doom and dread, I was like, is that the cologne the Manny's wearing? You're right. Maybe you should go with Calvin Klein's
There
Eternity.
was so much going on there. I thought he was going to give us a little sort of 4 lines that were half thought out, not an epic.
Yeah, I was expecting a haiku or something.
That was like pretty spot on, too.
Yeah. Big Friendly's poetry is dynamite. He's not there once from a man from Nantucket. No, nothing like that.
Yeah, I thought he'd have 1 rhyme at most.
Well, Big Friendly, MVP call.
What rhymes with Bosa? Nothing.
Okay.
Mimosa. Yeah.
Bang, gotcha.
And Brian, I'm going to be honest with you.
Wait,
that smells
okay.
like pure gasoline.
Sorry. What was that drink that you texted us you were drinking on Friday night, Manny?
Yeah, why were you
Which
drinking
one?
in why were you hanging in a Carvel ice cream shop? It was so brightly lit in
Well,
there.
hold on. First off, Carvel on a birthday sounds like a spectacular idea. Number 2, it was a Mexican restaurant, and I was drinking a lot of tequila.
Yeah, just getting a random text message from Manny from 1 a.m. that just said tequila.
But there was some big
great ending.
orange drink that you had. That
Tequila.
Orange? Yeah, that was the tequila. That was a tequila with a bunch of different other stuff that I got at a Mexican restaurant. That just a bunch of different alcohol that was put in, but I know that there was some
Tequila.
in it.
That was a
It looked
big
like
glass.
pineapple
dude.
on the top.
Oh yeah, and that was a small.
What?
Oh yeah. There's some bigger sizes, and I had beer as well. What a night!
What you remember of it?
Yeah, why did you text us 3 times? Tequila, then tech, then just T, period.
How about Cap's text on Father's Day, though?
Cap's text on Father's Day was disconcerting.
Can we put that out on social, Manny? We need your permission.
Of me drinking alcohol?
No. The
Tequila text that then was followed by a TEQ. And then followed by a T period.
Tequila.
And I was like, God, I hope Manny's not driving. He's gonna be good to get home. Somebody help him.
Green light.
No. The AI thing that Kaplan made of
The
you
Happy
on
Father's Day.
Go ahead.
That was amazing.
That was something to wake up to.
I was just dreaming this.
That was said at like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I know. That tequila.
It is Manny in the full AI Manny with a baby Jalen Brunson in a baby carriage, baby holder, whatever those things are called.
Let's go, Nick!
Baby Bjorn.
Well, it's because I wished happy birthday to all you guys and said you're all the number 1 dads.
Not happy birthday.
And Bogusch said thanks also to Rick Brunson. Anywho.
This Knicks onesie is kind of hard, to be honest.
And that actually, by the way, I think that's a baby picture of Jalen Brunson, right?
It looks it looks spot on.
I think that was out a lot. I swear I saw that exact photo because they done a lot of backstories on Rick and Jalen.
Who needs Brunson?
Yeah. Just Manny all smiles holding baby Jalen Brunson and baby Bjorn.
Taking him to a Yankee game, by the way.
How Cap came up with that in his spare time. But anyway.
A lot happened in that text message.
Let's go, guys. Your Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from the Bay Area. Bogusch, hang tight with us, will you? We also have the MMP 500. We also have Game 5 tonight of the NBA Finals. We have a lot to do. Don't move. It's Maggie Perloff.
I've seen women, so.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Celebrating all things Bay Area today. Athletes mostly, but sure, MC Hammer.
Yeah, although he became a Falcons fan when Dion got there. That was kind of weak.
Really?
Yeah, because we did Dion in Atlanta, and guess who's on the sideline at every game?
But that was too legit to quit, not Hammer time, right?
No, that was too legit to quit. That was too legit to quit Falcons.
Yeah. But again, I get your
sorry,
point.
what's the difference?
2 different songs.
Yeah, but still same guy.
Yeah.
Same pants.
Man, I love thinking back about MC Hammer.
MC Hammer, I can't even describe how big he was.
It was huge. And him going broke was like such a shock to me. I didn't realize that a lot of famous people spread themselves way too thin, go broke. As a kid, I was like, this is impossible. He's got to be the richest person alive. It's like Sultan of Brunei type stuff.
The man is wearing gold pants, and they're huge.
And they're sparkly, and he's moving left or right. Practice. What a legend. We'll get to Bogusch's update in just a moment. We're doing the Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from the Bay Area. Bill, calling us from the Bay. Bill, what do we have? Bill, you're up, sir. Bill, putting you on hold. Let's go to Ariel, who's also in the Bay. Ariel, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for taking my call. You guys have a great show this morning. I just wanted to give you guys a real quick here. For the Bay Area, you have Oakland and San Francisco. You have 2 different areas with very rich traditions. So I don't think it's fair to combine it all. We have so many good players to get just 4. But for the 4 that I have on my mount, we're going to go with Jerry Rice, and we're going to go with Barry Bonds on that side. But on the East Bay side, I'm going to go Al Davis, and I want to put in Ricky Henderson.
Yep.
Cannot talk baseball without popping your collar and pimping your home run.
Ariel, we were thinking not just Ricky Henderson's unbelievable career, and thank you for the call, and the stolen base record and all of that stuff, but these stories, like Ricky is he's godlike in that I believe any story that you would tell me about Ricky Henderson, and there's never ending amount.
Yeah, he doesn't feel mortal. Exactly. Yeah. He fits this kind of list perfectly. He spent double-digit years in Oakland. He went back and forth a bunch of times, but certainly an A. I thought about him because you're right. Like maybe not the best. He's obviously not Willie Mays as a player, but actually he's not that far off. He's one of the great leadoff hitters of all time.
No doubt, Hall of Famer. But here's my question though: as far as godlike Oakland A's, yes, Ricky Henderson's certainly there, but not the Bash brothers. Then, like if we're putting Barry Bonds on, so clearly steroids is not an obstacle here. You're not going to put McGuire and Canseco.
Well, McGuire,
Reggie Jackson, not steroids, but Reggie Jackson as an A, also very important figure.
Well, but it's like kind of like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Milwaukee. He left. It wasn't his fault. It was the A's didn't want to pay anybody. But you wouldn't put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Milwaukee, even though he had the greatest season in Bucks history, arguably.
Well, I mean, I think we did put a few people did have Kareem in Milwaukee.
I think that's the reason. Also, McGuire, same thing, peaked in St. Louis. I mean, are we doing St. Louis, by the way? Because
one of those maybe TBD.
If we expand.
The issue
more dates announced later.
To address that issue, though, we did consider splitting Oakland and San Francisco.
We did. Maybe we should have. I don't know. Maybe we're wrong.
Yeah.
Al Davis, though, was an interesting one because he did move the team, guys. So I know he's a legendary figure, and I'm sure Amy Trask would not be happy with us right now.
But they were in LA from 82 to 94. It's a long time.
Yeah. Let's get to Bogusch. She's got headlines for us on what's a very busy day.
Guys, it escalated pretty quickly in Boston, huh? Rafael Devers gets huge contract. Then Alex Bregman gets signed to replace Devers at third. Devers reluctantly agrees to DH, then refuses to play first base after a season-ending injury to Tristan Casas. We thought things had calmed down, though, until Boston sent Devers across the country yesterday. He goes to the Giants for veteran righty Jordan Hicks, young lefty Kyle Harrison, and two prospects, including outfielder James Tibbs III. Depending on whom you ask, Harrison or Tibbs is the biggest piece coming to Boston.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
You should lay low for a while. The Giants formally announced the deal during a 5-4 loss at Dodger Stadium on Sunday Night Baseball. Pitcher Logan Webb likes the aggression from President Buster Posey.
The only thing he wants to do is win, plain and simple. And I think a guy like that is a win-now move.
The Dodgers, meanwhile, announced their big news after the win. Shohei Ohtani returns to the mound tonight, serving as the opener against the Padres. Manager Dave Roberts.
It's a good thing. I think that we've kind of, the live situation simulated or whatever, it's sort of run its course. So he's ready to make his debut on the mound.
Ohtani has been throwing simulated games to teammates and minor leaguers. The team was saying he'd throw at least one more before a decision on returning to big league mounds. Maybe that wouldn't happen until after next month's All-Star game. Instead, it happens tonight, with Ohtani expected to pitch 2 innings at the absolute most.
You stay classy, San Diego.
The Grizzlies and Magic pulled off yesterday's first blockbuster, Memphis sending Desmond Bane to Orlando for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and a pick swap. The Magic need scoring, especially three-point shooting, and Bane averaged 19 points this season while shooting 39% from deep. J.J. Spawn survived Oakmont and Mother Nature to win the U.S. Open yesterday. It's his first major title, just his second career PGA Tour win. Spawn was one of 6 to at least share the lead during the final round. At one point, there was a 5-way tie for first. There was also that weather delay, after which Spawn birdied 17 and 18 to get a 2-shot win over Robert McIntyre.
By the way, there was actually almost a real drought bust because Adam Scott was leading for a long time, and he'd last won a major in 2013. Maggie, that would have been a home run for you, and a very good-looking man.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping because, I guess J.J. Spawn is not going to count towards my 2025 year, the Drought Buster.
I think the
first-time champion.
I think, and we're still doing the T-shirts no matter what happens, but I think a first-time champion is not really part of it. It doesn't hurt your Drought Buster take, but I don't think it adds to your Drought Buster take.
Well, the problem with that is I was really counting on the NBA to be a major tentpole of this Drought Buster, and so with OKC and with Indiana.
What's wrong with OKC? Were you not there when Seattle won in 78?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to get all Seattle mad at me for a guy who moved the team to Oklahoma City and now is claiming to be the same lineage.
How are the Oilers doing?
Hey, easy.
Oh my God! By the way, the Oilers,
spectacular.
At least there's life, because that drought bust looked over when they were down 3-0 in Game 4, was it? And
they came back and that was
I would count that series over.
It feels overish now, though. They no-showed at home at a 2-2 series. Now they're going back to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid.
I don't
Come
love
on,
it.
man. He'd be the biggest one on the list besides Rory, but McDavid really would be. Canada,
I think
the
Canada,
drought.
that's the biggest one. You got a whole country.
It's take of the year if Canada wins. I really need the Oilers to get their heads out of their...
Quickly, College Baseball World Series, Coastal Carolina, a 6-2 win over Oregon State last night in Omaha. The Chanticleers are 2-0. They've now won 25 consecutive games. They'll face the Ducks again or Louisville on Wednesday after those two play an elimination game tomorrow. Guys, back to you.
Is this the longest postseason baseball tournament?
So
I feel like it's been going on for a month and a half.
I think what's different now is it might start a week later, so it feels like it goes deeper into June. But I think the calendar is technically the same. It's just they shifted like their 3 weeks or whatever back a week. So it feels deeper in the year.
Because I'm seeing all these huge celebrations. I'm like, they must have just won the title. It's like, nope. They just forced a third game.
They're in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine. I'm okay with people celebrating.
Yeah, and also, too, I get mixed up because as sort of a casual on this. It's college baseball or women's softball, and I don't know where either tournament is, but it's always, I get really into the game.
I think they're both in Omaha, aren't they? Is the women's tournament? No, the
Oklahoma
women's
City.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah. General area.
But I'm seeing these like dog piles of guys just like on top of each other, celebrating like, oh, this must have been the championship. It's like, no. Still got another week and a half. Okay, great. Coming up, coach calls out a referee. Was it warranted?
Brick killed a guy.
You're in a 5-minute break.
The deep down reason we
Daily was waiting by that glowing screen, hoping night shift crown would go to the king. Ship held it down night after night, with fire in his voice and truth in his mic. But the news came in like a cold hard slap. Pat Boyle's got it, felt like a trap. No shade on the kid, but let's be real, Shepherd earned a late night deal. Now Shepard ain't sleeping and Daly's in tears. The Shepherd maniac's been loyal for years. We stayed up late, we rode every wave, but they gave it to Pat and dug Ship's grave. So we howled at the moon and cursed at the sky, asking one question: why, oh why, oh why? Meanwhile, Bellotti still don't show up for work. No call, no text, just gone with a smirk. Yet Ship clocked in through the thick and the thin. Rain or shine, he'd always check in. Infinity, you broke our trust. We wanted Shep and that's a must. You picked a Boyle, but we needed flame. Now the overnights just won't be the same. Yeah, Shep, it ain't sleeping, we're twisted with rage. You skipped the vet for the new kid on stage. From the Bronx to the burbs, we're standing tall. Shep, a maniac's answer every call. So crank up the static, let the record show. There's only one man for that late night blow. Pat's got the slot, but it don't feel right, 'cause Shep, it ain't sleeping, not tonight. It ain't sleeping, we're twisted. Still ghosting. Daily was
Well, drunk as Sam stumbled into work at night, smelling like a whiskey, cheap boxed wine. Tried to flirt with Lisa from accounting again, but HR warned him that's strike number 10. Oh Sam, you gotta read the room. You ain't Casanova, you're just full of booms. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Did he call in sick or win the damn lottery? Nobody's seen him since 2:15. Was it a long night or a rendezvous? Oh, Bellotti, did you ghost us for good? Or are you just stuck in your neighborhood? Sam sent an email, slurred every word. Called the boss, baby man, that's absurd. Tried to high five, but he missed by a mile. Knocked over the coffee, still flashing a smile. Then he said, I may get too familiar too soon. I am told by HR and writing, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby? The phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to claim it's up. Then he said, I may get too familiar too in traffic or hiding in the lobby. Phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to clean this up. Maybe he's in Vegas, maybe he's in Spain, or maybe he just hit snooze again.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Big moves coming to the Bay Area. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. A blockbuster baseball trade yesterday afternoon, and a happy Father's Day to everyone celebrating yesterday. The Red Sox trade Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants. Pearl, to me, this screams Red Sox mistake.
Okay.
Rafael Devers, despite all the bickering about whether he was going to play third base and then DH and then play first base, it clearly was an issue. But the fact that it raises itself to the level of we have to trade you across the country into a different league, to me shows the Red Sox are not keeping the main thing. You have, despite all that distraction, a guy who's continued to hit, someone you do want to build around, or you did 2 short years ago. Now, all of a sudden, he's got to be on the first plane out of town a month and a half before the trade deadline because the situation got so out of control. That, to me, is on the Red Sox. You had a guy who's one of the top 10 hitters in baseball, and you're letting him leave in a move I think they are going to regret.
Well, it's funny. I kind of agree with the take that the Red Sox never wanted to pay him in the first place. They were just so beaten down by the fallout from the Mookie Betts deal that they didn't pay Mookie Betts, let him go to the Dodgers. I think the Red Sox reluctantly signed Rafael Devers to this massive deal. And I know, listen, they have no excuse to cheap out, but to get rid of a deal that lasts through 2033 and pays $250 million, I think there's some relief in Boston, not just because they don't want to pay out the cash and use it for soccer, which a lot of people are saying. I just think,
Yikes.
I think the contract with Devers, I know what it's like to have those big contracts on your books as a team. It feels stifling to me. And I think this deal will not really pay out for the Giants. I think it'll be short term, it'll be great. But I think over the course of it, we're going to look back and they're probably going to try and get rid of Devers themselves in a few years.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Not all of these long-term deals are created equal. Yeah, there's terrible ones if you want to point to the Anthony Rendones and if you want to look at what happened with Albert Pujols after he left St. Louis. But you look at your own backyard. You think Bryce Harper's a bad deal? It's not.
Yeah, but I don't know why. But for some reason, and listen, I'm not so in that. Everyone seems to think this Devers deal is particularly bad.
Well, maybe that's because there's people who are, drinking a little of the Red Sox Kool-Aid here, because I think that the Red Sox don't deserve our pity and they don't deserve hey, great job. No one had a gun to your head to give him the contract. And whether it was a reaction to Mookie Betts getting traded, well, that's also your fault. Because the Red Sox are not a poor organization. Boston is a huge market. These owners are rich beyond belief, okay? This is the thing about baseball. There is no salary cap. You can spend, and then you can continue to spend. Nothing is telling you can't. If they wanted to pony up for Xander Bogaerts, they could have. If they wanted to pony up for Betts, they could have. If they wanted to keep Chris Sale, they could have. They can do all these things. This is not the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is not the Oakland A's. This is not a penny-pinching organization, yet they're acting like one now. And so, to me, it's alarming. And you didn't get closer to a World Series. You got further away with the Devers move. On the flip side, I applaud San Francisco. It's hard for them to sign sluggers in free agency because the ballpark is cavernous. Pitching, no problem, and they have it in spades. But getting sluggers to go there is tough. Devers is, again, one of the best hitters in baseball right now. Are his numbers going to tick down a little bit? Probably, except the protection that he gives other guys in the lineup. Everyone's going to see better pitches because of Rafael Devers. So ultimately, it's a net gain. Kudos to Buster Posey in the front office for doing this.
Yeah, but even if they keep Devers, it doesn't feel like the Red Sox are on the right trajectory. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. They've clearly, whatever the championship juice was a few years ago, it's not there. Yeah. I think it's because the second
keep letting
best
good players walk out the door. That's
right.
why.
But I feel like they have, if they're going to commit, then it wasn't going to be around that. Like Devers wasn't going to lead the turnaround, in my opinion, because he's his numbers are good. You're right. They're very good. He's 28. I just don't think that he was anything like Betts.
See, I think egos got involved here, clearly, right? I think egos got involved on both sides. I think that, Devers thinking, listen, you just gave me the biggest contract in the history of the storied Red Sox organization. I probably have a little agency here, right? So you're going to move my position and you're going to have me DH. Okay, I'll do that. Now you want to play first because our first baseman just got hurt. Some guys are different. Some guys will say, I'll do whatever, I'll play wherever. Others are super creatures of habit, and change can come a little bit harder. I think the Red Sox underestimating or not understanding their own guy is not Devers' fault. The Tiger went Tiger, and now you're shocked by it.
Yeah, but I think they won off this deal regardless. Like, I think they're like, I don't think it's like, oh man, we should have messed with Rafael Devers. They're like, oh, Devers is giving us a way to get out of this. Did you get that vibe? Like, again, I keep reading, like, they did this deal, but it didn't seem like they were ever thrilled about it. It wasn't like they held a parade down Quincy Street or whatever. I'm making up that street name. I think there is a Quincy Street, right?
No, you're thinking of Faneuil Hall, something like that?
Yeah,
Boston?
Quincy Market.
Quincy Market, yeah.
Right. So I just don't sense that there was a lot of, regardless of the position change, I don't think there was a lot of good vibes around where this team was going.
But that's not just because of Devers.
Right, I know, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a good deal in a vacuum to get rid of this contract.
Okay, well, I ask you this then. If you think it was just about the money, do you think if Devers had said, oh, of course, I'll play first base, I'll play wherever, do you think he's still a Red Sox?
Oh, my God. If he was getting paid $10 million a year and he caused all this hubbub, there's not a chance in whatever that they're trading him. Of course it's about the money.
Okay, so you don't think that if he had just been more accepting of moving his position around and not created any kind of drama, you think he still would have been traded in the middle of the afternoon on June 15th?
I don't think they could have traded him June 15th without a fan revolt. But I think that they were looking for a way out of this. Yeah. My sense is it's like when you're in a relationship and you kind of secretly want out, but you don't have a good reason to break up with the person. I think I sense that they were looking for a way to get out of this.
Interesting. This all took me by surprise. The very beginning with the drama. I mean, not that the Red Sox wanting Bregman to play third. That makes sense. He's a better third baseman. But the fact that it escabulated, I was surprised at all of it, and I'm most surprised by the ending. But
I was surprised
for the Giants.
I was shocked that this is an organization that would pay Rafael Devers and not Mookie Betts. That didn't seem right.
Well, again, that's not Devers' problem,
Right, but it's certainly the Red Sox problem.
Yeah, so I don't trust them. And I think this is just another mistake that they're making on top of it. I love the story that John Henry, who's the billionaire kind of owner, they're owned by a conglomerate, but he's kind of the front man. The governor, I think they call it. But he was, apparently very disturbed that he flew from Boston to Kansas City to meet with Devers, and Devers was received him in a lukewarm kind of way. And I just cringe at the idea that a billionaire feels so put out that they have to get on a flight from Boston to Kansas City to deal with their star player. Like, hey, you own a sports team. This is part of owning a sports team. You've got to deal with conflicts. Or, by the way, don't get on the plane. Let your general manager handle it. Let Alex Cora, the manager, handle it. But he was so put off by that. It's like now he's got to go. That to me is ego and stupid stuff that has nothing to do with winning.
That's so weird. You usually love these billionaire owners so much.
I know. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Perloff clearly in jest. Not a big fan of the billionaire owners. Meanwhile, let's get to the Bay Area, who receives Rafael Devers in this trade. But that's not all that's going on with the Bay today. Today is the Maggie and Perloff Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods. Today we tackle the Bay Area.
All right. I went with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steph Curry, controversially, Barry Bonds. It was sort of a protest vote. The Hall won't do it, but I'll put him on my Mount Olympus. Also, too, Maggie, when you're out of the Bay Area, the way they talk about Barry Bonds, just different.
I also have the same three as you with Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, and Steph. I think those are unassailable. And I put Willie Mays over Barry Bonds. I thought Bonds, I get it, Bay Area. He's your guy. But he brought shame on baseball along with others in the steroid era. Shame. People throwing syringes on the field.
He brought shame on baseball feels like way too strong a comment because there were so many of them.
Well, yes, and we could have done, if you want to go Oakland A's, why not the Vash brothers, right? Why not McGuire and Canseco, who were such huge phenoms?
Right, but they weren't as big as Barry in San Francisco.
I'll grant you that.
And McGuire was a phenom too in St. Louis. A lot. You know what the debate that we're running into a lot is what happens with a guy who did it in multiple cities. Like we talked about Reggie Jackson earlier. That waters you down a little bit. I think if you go wire to wire in the same city, like Steph Curry has done so far, that gives you a notch up.
For all these cities, really.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. All the cities.
Yeah.
I think what happens is if you have a great player whose time was split, that kind of is. It's hard to. You got to pick some weird criteria to keep. Look at the people we're keeping off this list.
I know. Well, and Al Davis as a contributor, right? As a coach, owner, scion, like everything. But he did move the team. Now I don't know how much people in the Bay Area hold that against him. They seem to very much hold it against the A's owner.
No, I remember because I followed a lot of it. He has a lot of enemies in the Bay Area. That was not ideal what happened.
Right. So as much as he had influence and is a godlike figure, the fact that some of it is so tinged with the negative, right, of moving the team and the stadium being a mess and all of that, how much does a cloud
We'll
things?
see it all in the movie coming out, I think, next year with Nick Cage as John Madden and Christian Bale as Al Davis. That's going to be incredible.
I can't wait. I think the costumes, what we've seen with the photos that have leaked out, these guys look spitting image.
Well, I disagree. I think Christian Bale looks exactly like Al Davis, and Nick Cage looks exactly like Nick Cage in a wig.
Not John Madden.
Well, there are angles where he does look like Madden, but the publicity shot they sent out, I'm like, oh, that's Nicolas Cage. I had no idea it was Christian Bale. I wouldn't have known. He did the hair. It was like sort of a late 60s, early 70s Al Davis hair, which was fantastic. By the way, I think the baseball is getting shortchanged here, not the football. I mean, we keep on. There are so many great baseball players from Oakland and San Francisco, too.
By the way, can I propose a Maggie and Perloff show idea?
Please.
On the air? Love an on-air production meeting. What do you got?
I think the group, we should all see this movie as a group.
As a group.
Oh, I love it.
Are we watching Moneyball?
Can we go, is there like a 10:30 in the morning movie?
Right, this is definitely straight to streaming. There's no way.
Streaming? Oh,
I
that's better.
assume
We should watch it. That's better. We could watch it as a virtual. Do a watch-along.
A watch-along party?
Yeah.
Wait, what are we
No,
doing?
this has got to go into the theaters.
I think this is a motion picture. Or whatever
Nicolas
they call
Cage and Christian Bale aren't going straight to streaming anymore.
Straight to streaming. You could be a big movie and go straight to streaming now.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The pandemic really
Amazon
changed
MGM Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it might go into theaters, but people are going to watch it on Amazon.
I think we should watch this as a group project. It'd be fun.
I love it.
Manny will not know anything that's going on because it's
Not a
before
clue.
2000.
Damn right.
I watched a documentary that was
the Raiders
great.
in Oakland?
Do you guys see the 30 for 30?
No, what's the new
The
one?
Raiders.
that one.
It was Al Davis versus the NFL.
Oh, yeah, I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about a recent one. No.
Yeah.
I've seen the old one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. How they basically use AI, right, to use their voices to talk about how,
They had these actors play both Roselle and
Davis.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Do we know who's directing this John Madden
I do.
thing?
It's
Someone
I think
we trust?
it's the guy from Silver Lining Playbook.
Oh, David O. Russell?
Yeah. He's great. I don't know what your problem with that guy is.
Not sound like a approval sound out of you, Maggie.
I didn't like American Hustle. Dominic is in San Francisco. Dom, who is on your Mount Olympus of the Bay Area?
My Mount Olympus for the Bay Area. Funny you should ask. I had a talk with the producer, and I know this is all in good fun. There's no cash prizes. There's no right or wrong. It is the San Francisco Bay Area. I'd appreciate a little attitude as a diehard native San Franciscan.
Okay.
Go
for
ahead.
San Francisco, I've got Willie Mays, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, and Barry Bonds. And for the latitude granted to me, I have a Bay Area list as well.
Okay, go.
I've got Catfish Hunter, Ricky Henderson, Ken Stabler, and Steph Curry.
Ooh. Wait, by the way, what about Eck? What about Raleigh Fingers? What about some of the other great baseball, Juan Marichal or whatever?
They were all really good as well. I didn't want to get too greedy, and I held it to 4 for San Francisco.
Why Catfish
And
Hunter is
4,
basically what about. Why Catfish and not some of those other great players?
Catfish Hunter, I watched the 72, 73, 74 Oakland A's. That was the best baseball team of all time. The
Well,
27
had to be to beat the
Yankees,
Mets.
Damn.
You know, Dom, here's my one issue, and thank you for the call, and this was right in your wheelhouse, and thank you to everyone who's called from the Bay Area to talk about our 4 sports gods of the Bay Area. The Bonds thing, even now, like after all that, the steroids. Like, you have all these other baseball players to choose from. I understand that Bonds is the home run king. Aaron Judge doesn't even think he is, whatever you make of that. A guy who's from the Bay Area, who grew up in that area, recognizes Hank Aaron as the home run king.
Aaron Judge.
You know what I'm saying? Pearl, I think he's a guy who it's still so controversial. I get he's your guy, but you have other people who you could put on here who you don't have to defend.
I don't think they care about that, Maggie. I think they love Barry Bonds. Like, he's their guy. And in some ways, I think the fact he's controversial almost makes him more their guy because no one else will claim him. Like, to me, doesn't that make him even more Bay Area than anything else? Like, if all the rest of America looks at him kind of sideways and they're the ones who say he's our hero, then, he's a hero maybe they don't need, but the one they deserve.
So we're going to do Cincinnati and put Pete Rose. We're going to do Chicago and put shoeless Joe Jackson on there? I mean, is it just the Hall of Infamy?
Pete Rose is definitely, in my opinion, on Cincy. I can't talk about shoeless Joe Jackson. I don't know about that. But Pete Rose, yeah, definitely.
I gave Joe DiMaggio a shower.
By the way, if stupid Kirk Gibson didn't hit that homer, Eck would have had a great case.
Stupid Kirk
Or
Gibson.
if how about all those home runs they gave up? I mean, Barry Bonds would have a World Series ring too if it wasn't for like they couldn't. The bullpen blew up against the Angels.
Well, there was a rally monkey
That's
involved.
because,
You can't get past
and
that.
you couldn't if you were 9 feet of the plate at that time against that was Vlad, right? Oh my God, he was on fire that team. Wasn't that Garrett Wilson and Vlad?
That was Troy Glass. Troy Glass was going crazy in that series. I don't know if Vlad was there.
Garrett Wilson. Did Garrett Wilson? What's it?
Garrett Anderson.
Yeah, no, I think Vlad was on that Angels team. Was he?
These are names that I haven't thought of in years.
That was was that 04?
Or are you going to bring Sean
03 or
Figgins into
04?
the conversation now? You're going to throw Sean Figgins
03,
in here?
he's the Red Sox for 04.
He wasn't there yet. He came the next year. But
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
Jim Edmonds on that team?
The four sports gods of the Bay Area. That's what's on tap for you today. We have the M&P 500 next. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a big weekend? Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, back on Maggie and Perloff Show. Every week we do the M&P 500, summing up a very, very busy sports weekend. Stock up, stock down. All right, Maggie, get us started.
Okay, well, my stock up is going to go to not just Caitlin Clark, but also a little bit to myself. Caitlin Clark returned from injury, 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. She accounted for 54 of Indiana's points through her scoring and her passing, where they beat EJ's New York Liberty, who had been undefeated this year, and they waxed them 102-88. Caitlin is back, and partially my stock also up because I was not here to defend it at the time. But Caitlin Clark already a sports goddess in Indianapolis.
So wait, let me just make this. Maggie Gray is saying Maggie Gray's stock is up.
Well, Caitlin's first, mine a little. I get a little glow here because I said she's already a sports goddess in the city of Indianapolis, along with the likes of Reggie Miller and Larry Bird and all the other luminaries. And I know EJ had to defend that for me while I was away on some personal business. I did. Appreciate you stepping up.
How many games, if you had to guess, how many games do you think Caitlin Clark has played in Indianapolis?
It doesn't matter. We're talking about influence. We're talking about godlike qualities.
62.
Caitlin Clark has it all already with the Peyton Mannings of the world. So I stock up Caitlin. Well, stock up your girl, Mags.
Oh, yeah.
Over to you, Pearl.
Is that like when you declared your own drought buster as the take of the year? That no one else is calling the take of the year, but you're calling the take of the year? Which, by the way, we're going to get t-shirts. I don't care if it happens or not. I think the Oilers are coming back to make this take work. Yes. She's played 45 games in Indianapolis, and obviously, I don't think she played a play. Oh, she did make the playoffs last year. Anyway, okay, my stock up is going to be Mark Daigneault, the Thunder coach. So have you noticed something that I think a lot of coaches have been exposed in this place postseason? Joe Mazzulla did nothing for Boston to adjust. Kenny Atkinson got completely outcoached by Rick Carlisle. Mark Daigneault looked like he was getting his lunch handed to him by Rick Carlisle again. And then Daigneault made 2 adjustments in Game 4. Basically, stopped having SGA bring the ball up, saved some energy because he was running out of steam in the fourth quarter. And he had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander set picks for Jalen Williams, which caused a switch, which freed him up and won the game. Mark Daigneault, actually, I was worried about him. I think he's a good coach, and that's why now the Thunder have 3 games left. 2 are at home, and I think are, again, a strong favorite because their coach save their bacon in a major way this weekend. He's my stock up.
I agree with you. I don't know if Shea's stock has risen to the level yet of Daigneault, but there's still a chance.
Well, Shea is Apple, though. His stock is very high. Mark Daigneault was sort of a mid-level stock. Shea, that's the problem with Shea. Shea's stock is so high, he's a blue chipper. Can he deliver that level? That remains to be seen.
I got stock up here for Garrett Cole. He's injured. How is his stock up for the Yankees? Well, that's because Rafael Devers is no longer in his division. And Rafael Devers was amazing against Garrett Cole. /350, 435, 975 with 8 home runs and 46 plate appearances against Cole. That is unbelievable. And now Devers is gone. He was traded from Boston to San Francisco. And even though Garrett Cole is on the injured list right now, he breathes a sigh of relief. I don't have to see Rafael Devers anymore. Stock up, Garrett Cole.
Okay, I will do a stock down / movie review.
Ooh, go.
Who's ready? So this movie came out, not a lot of fanfare. Robert De Niro plays 2 mobsters in the same movie. It's called Alto Nights. Came in the theaters in March, I believe. He plays Vito Genovese and he plays Frank Costello, 2 of the most famous mobsters of all time. And I will watch any mafia movie, like most people. They're the greatest movies ever. This is the end of the genre because it was so bad.
Oh, no.
I watched it on Prime or something. You can't go wrong. Robert De Niro playing a Godfather type gangster, you would think would be good. Now, a lot of people didn't like The Irishman. I kind of like The Irishman. This was the death knell. The genre has been explored too much. It felt so flat. Everything in there felt like a trope. You've seen it a million times before. De Niro is playing almost a caricature of himself. It was really bad. And there was definitely some de-aging, and like the script fell apart. De Niro seemed to lose interest halfway through.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you probably never even heard of it, right?
I was going to ask you, what's the name of this movie?
Alto Nights. It's the name of a social club in downtown New York. And I actually thought of EJ, who has one blind spot. You've never watched any of the mobster movies.
Pretty much, yeah.
So then later on, I because it was so bad, I was flipping around during the golf rain delay, and Goodfellas was on one of the TBS channels. Watch that. Got back to normal.
Restored your faith in mob movies.
A palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Yes, but Alto Nights was terrible.
Put in the freezer somehow, palate cleanser.
EJ, if you're going to start your mobster movie journey, do not do Alto Nights.
All right, taking notes. Got it. No Alto Nights.
You might do The Godfather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or The Godfather 2. Not Godfather 3.
Wow. Well done. I'll go stock down. The love life of the guy driving the Fox 11 helicopter.
Oh.
Don't know his name. He was on a live stream when they were doing some of the overhead, some of the protest things that were happening over the weekend, but he got really into his personal life. Manny, I'll take cut 8 first. He was asked on the live stream, what's up with his personal life? Like, is he still married?
The answer is yes. You know what? I don't care. I don't care about my... I am married. I am legally married. I am legally married. That's about the only way you can really say it. I am legally married. But I am not looking at now at all. I just had a bunch of debacles with my personal life. Yes, it's true. I know. It's hard to believe. Somebody that doesn't even know what he's talking about in a relationship.
Yes, this is the Fox News 11 chopper in L.A.
Just to clarify, that was on air?
Yeah. It was on a live stream. There's more. More from the chopper while they're looking out for protests. He says, just at this point of his life, guys, he just doesn't want to be tied down.
I got nothing right now. Got nothing. Not really looking. Trying to find myself and be happy. I'm being serious about that. I want to be beholden to no one at this moment.
Manny, your thoughts?
Let's get that guy some whiskey.
Not while he's driving the chopper.
No. Wait until you land, please, bro.
I just love the beginning of that first cut, Manny. Like when you ask somebody if you're married, and this is the response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, you're not.
he's on a live stream in between the live hits on the actual news above the protests.
So this is like something that is so unique, I think, to Los Angeles because there's so many car chases and car chases that the helicopter guys become like celebrities. So he's got like a following and a personality. So he's doing the live stream and they're asking if he's still married. And he's like, Are you married? When you need 5 seconds of groaning.
I'm legally married.
It sounds like he was about doing Chris Berman, the Raiders.
Sounds like he's in pain.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about his wife. Anyway, stock down for the Fox 11 news chopper guy.
What cologne does he wear?
Bro, what else you got?
Can I just do one more? This is a combo, stock up, stock down. Do you guys know Grant Holmes, the Braves pitcher? He threw 15 strikeouts yesterday.
Yeah.
Amazing. He looks like Kenny Powers, is the coolest guy. And I'm going to give stock up to ESPN Sports Center, who showed all the strikeouts. They're like, this is amazing. Stock down is going to be the Braves. Does anyone know the final score of the game in which he threw 15 strikeouts? He threw 50 strikeouts. They lost 10-1. How is that possible? Yeah, he struck out.
How many hits did he give up?
They lost to the Rockies too, 10-1. No, the Braves stink now. Remember, I kept saying do not count out the Braves. The Braves are awful. This guy threw 15 strikeouts. They lost 10-1. Kind of a historic combination, but he's super cool. This mullet is all time. If you don't know, I actually didn't know much about him. 3-6, Grant Holmes. Stock up and stock down.
Married.
He only gave up 2 hits and 2 earned runs. So
yeah,
it was the bullpen that really did him in.
He got 19 outs, 15 by strikeout.
Oh my goodness!
And they lost.
When's the last time the Rockies scored 10 runs in a game?
2005.
Yeah.
Todd Helton was still playing.
I was going to say it was Troy Tulowitzki on the team.
Ooh, Todd Helton. That's an interesting Mount Olympus possibility.
One of my all-time favorites.
Fair. Final stock up. Manny, can we hear the end of the golf, please? Yesterday, JJ Spawn, insane birdie putt to win his first ever major. NBC all over it. Great Father's Day story, guys. Up in the middle of the night because his daughter's puking, has to get her drugs from the drugstore, and then he goes out and wins his first ever major. He was thinking about quitting the sport entirely just a year ago.
Yep.
Love it.
I love it. I actually gave a shout out on social media to wrestling, EJ. You would have been really impressed because I tweeted if I told you Burns, Spawn, McIntyre, and one other guy are in contention for championship, would you know what sport I was talking about? Everyone's like, oh, golfers know. And they said there's no other famous people with those names in any other sports. I said, well, what about McIntyre? Because I knew
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, the wrestler.
Scottish Warrior. The
Scottish
psychopath.
Warrior.
Yeah, it's definitely his real name.
I think it is his
Actually,
real name.
that might be
Why
his
would that
real
not be
name.
his real name? It's not like he's Undertaker.
The first name is Drew.
Wait, is it real name? Last name isn't McIntyre? Whoa.
Wait a minute. This wrestling thing, guys changed their name?
Wait, is Rey Mysterio's real name?
Why would you
Rey
name?
Mysterio?
If you're gonna change your name,
The back of his brain just blew up.
It's not The Undertaker?
He's Drew Galloway.
why would you change it from Galloway to McIntyre? What's the difference?
Take it up with Vince McMahon. He always does his weird stuff.
Yeah, it's like changing your name from like Smith to Jones. I don't understand.
Gallows a moron. He's trying to find. I love that drop. He's trying to find, I think, the most Scottish name possible, and I guess he landed on McIntyre being more Scottish than Galloway.
Gallows a
moron.
How many guys actually wrestle under their real name these days?
John Cena.
Is that his real name?
He is one.
You know what? The guys who get beat up, like the tomato cans,
Yeah.
they use their real names, right? Or
Sometimes, yeah.
Or does Vince make them pick a boring name?
Yeah, honestly, most of the guys now and gals, most of them aren't wrestling under their real names. I mean, Logan Paul does, obviously.
Who?
He's Logan Paul.
Oh
They
my
changed his
God!
name.
Do you know that Kamala, the Ugandan giant, wasn't even named Kamala?
No.
Is he from Uganda though?
Very much no.
Yeah, Uganda, Illinois.
Yeah, his name is James Harris from Oxford, Mississippi. From Mississippi.
Do you know Razor Ramon is not Cuban, people? Scott Hall.
But it's a sport, right?
That'd be a great bit. I'd love to know. Like, I don't know any of these wrestlers. Like, the real. identity of these people.
Brock Lesnar was Brock Lesnar. Obviously, is Brock Lesnar.
Did you see his daughter competing yesterday? She should have gotten a stock up. Over the weekend, she's a shot putter.
Yeah, his daughter, she looks awesome. Apparently, she's really good.
Did you know Mr. Fuji's really Norwegian? Wait, if you tell me Roddy Piper is not Irish.
His parents didn't him Rowdy. Get out. Okay,
well, actually,
that's
he's
your
Canadian.
Stock up, stock down.
Also, Bret Hart.
I was gonna say his middle name's not the Hitman.
No,
Shawn Michaels.
He is Bret Hart though.
That's true.
And Shawn Michaels is also, I believe, Shawn Michaels.
The Great Khali.
Right, it's funny. I thought Drew McIntyre's a normal enough name that could have been. That's so funny.
Well, the thing is, like, the WWE can then copyright those names.
Yep.
And then when they leave, then they can't use their WWE name, which makes them more or less valuable in the open market in theory.
That's why Dwayne Johnson really wants to be called Dwayne Johnson when he's promoting movies and stuff.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
He just got his trademark for The Rock literally during the TKO deal, which is why he's now been back.
Wasn't that a show called Young Rock?
Yeah, but that again, he just recently got the trademark for that, like very recently. And that was a huge sticking point. I think that's why he wasn't around for a long time.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
Was Hulk
a little personal?
Hulk Hogan's name wasn't Hulk?
Bogusch headlines. Let's
His name
do
was Bruce
it.
Banner.
This is how Rafael Devers' Sunday began.
Here is Rafi, who skies one deep into left field. This thing is way back, and it is gone over the red line. It is out of here for Devers, an opposite field homer. It barely got over the red line. Devers launches, and it is 2-0 Red Sox.
Devers
Smile, jabroni.
going deep in a 2-0 win over the Yankees. The Sox feeling good, sweeping their enemies. A game over 500, a half game out of a wild card spot, and then they shipped Devers to San Francisco for veteran righty Jordan Hicks, 23-year-old lefty Kyle Harrison, minor league outfielder James Tibbs III, and a pitching prospect. The Giants also taking on all of Devers' contract, which has roughly $250 million left on it. All of this ending the drama that began when the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman to play third base instead of Devers this winter. Harrison, by the way, was scheduled to start for the Giants at Dodger Stadium on Sunday Night Baseball. 5 relievers combined to lose that one 5-4. Andy Pages hit a go-ahead 3-run homer, bottom 5 for LA. Post-game, the Dodgers announced that Shohei Ohtani will be their opener for tonight's visit from the Padres. It'll be Ohtani, the pitcher's first start since elbow surgery 21 months ago.
That's what's in.
A big NBA deal yesterday as well. The Magic going all in on Desmond Bane, sending Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 unprotected first-rounders, and a pick swap to Memphis. Bane brings scoring and 3-point shooting that Orlando does not have.
Oh, Orlando Magic.
The Gold Cup began yesterday for U.S. men's soccer in San Jose against Trinidad and Tobago.
Running at Jones. Diego Luna got him on ice skates. Luna deflected shot. It's a goal. We'll see if Luna gets credit or not. Did it come off Archibald one way or the other? 3-0 United States late in the half.
John Strong on FS1.
Finally.
Take that, Pulisic.
Yeah, finally get a win.
They played again. Trinidad and Tobago. 5-0 was the final
captain.
In San Jose. That's
2 teams.
Naps their 4-match losing streak, their longest since 2007.
Nicely done.
I'll need some help from Manny Vroom Vroom here. Shane Van Gisbergen.
That's right.
Won the NASCAR Cup Series race in Mexico City yesterday.
The Viva Mexico 250 from El Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
Won by a guy named Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez did not have a spectacular showing. Finished 20th.
Oh, I should have put this in my stock up, stock down. Did you guys see what happened with Ryan Blaney at this? Where was it again?
El Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
Exactly.
So cool he does that.
Apparently Ryan Blaney got a little of the Montezuma's revenge during the race.
Ruh-roh.
That's bad.
Too many chilaquiles.
I was going to say, yet also very relatable. I have no idea what it's like to drive 250 miles an hour, but I think we've all understand where he was coming from.
Right.
But meanwhile, he was fine.
He also ate unlabeled peppers.
That was the least of my problems when I ate the habanero.
Oh, okay. Angel Reese, 11
Burned
points.
all the taste buds off my tongue.
13 rebounds and
Excuse me.
11 assists in the Skies, 78-66 win in Connecticut. Only Caitlin Clark has recorded a triple-double at a younger age in WNBA history. Reese is 23 years and 40 days old. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, the keys to tonight for both the Thunder and the Pacers. Rick Carlisle defending one of the NBA's most notorious referees. We'll get into that next. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
One question. How dare you? You know that I don't like this song. I'm the only person in America who wishes Journey really would have sat this one out. But they are from the Bay Area, and so today we're doing the 4 sports gods from the Bay Area, Pearl. So I guess Journey.
Feels more like a Detroit song in a sense because they do mention Detroit, but okay.
Well, it's now more of a New Jersey thing. I think
But you also do, if you're
Sopranos.
doing bands from the Bay Area, I mean,
Got some other options.
you got some other pretty famous options. I don't know if Journey would jump to mind, but I like that song.
I know it's
Last week was
controversial.
the last episode of.
This is my last resort.
Also from San Francisco. Is that better? Papa Roach?
Well, I mean,
No, you didn't play the Grateful Dead, which was the most
And
obvious
Metallica.
one. And Metallica, yes.
Yeah,
You
Metallica
missed two
because they're
big ones.
big Giants fans, right?
There's
they-
also Manny.
lots of bands.
Manny just learned who Sly Stone was. Was he from San Francisco? Was he from Oakland? Sly Stone.
I just actually watched a documentary on him. He moved to L.A. and sort of became a hermit.
Okay.
But he might have been. He easily could have been there. Wait, how did we get on this? Last week, by the way, was the anniversary of the last episode of The Sopranos, where they played "Don't Stop Believin'." I know you did not like that scene because you did not like the song.
No, I don't like the song. The scene is fine. Like,
Do you think he
leave
died?
people on a cliffhanger. I thought Tony did die, but then they did a movie or what? Oh, the movie was,
It was a prequel.
I don't know. He popped up on some type of Knicks recruiting LeBron James video that we all found out later.
Oh, yeah, that.
He and Carmella are hiding out.
I watched all these documentaries on that, and apparently David Chase wanted to do "Don't Stop Believin'," and everyone in the room is like, "That song stinks. Don't do that."
Thank you.
But then it became one of the most iconic scenes in television history. And
I
that
guess
song is cool.
I guess he kind of won that.
Kind of like "Sweet Caroline" or "Take Me Home, Country Road." It's one of those iconic American songs.
Living
man.
I mean, it's the anthem for the San Francisco Giants dynasty of the 2010s.
Don't Stop
Sorry,
Believing.
Maggie missed the.
They kept playing it at after every game. They were playing it during the parade. Like,
You missed a key Maggie and Perloff music moment on Friday. I think you probably saw it on social.
I did. Are you talking about Peter Schwartz?
Yeah.
Why do you sound so solemn?
Well, maybe you haven't listened to it yet.
I love that song.
I saw Peter was singing on Friday because Bogusch was sitting in for me, and then Peter was doing updates.
I'd say singing is a strong word for whatever went down.
I was here the day that he sang the Macarena.
Yeah. Do you know what song he sang?
No, I don't.
Oh boy. I think we need
It
to
wasn't
play.
Baby Got Back or something, was it?
I know you wanted me to stay, but I can't ignore the crazy visions of me in L.A.
Oh, God.
And I heard that there's a special place where boys and girls can all be queens every single day. I'm having wicked dreams of leaving Tennessee. I love that song. Here's Santa Monica. I swear it's calling me. Won't make my mama proud. It's gonna cause a scene.
Kind of a boring guy.
She sees her baby girl. I know she's gonna scream. God, what have you done? You're a pink pony girl.
Pico de Goyo.
You dance at the club. Oh, mama, I'm just having fun. On the stage in my heels.
God.
It's
Okay,
where
I've got
I
it.
belong.
Yeah.
Chapel Schwartz.
Mand P.
Peter Schwartz doing Pink Pony Club is the worst idea we ever had.
I'm so glad I wasn't here for that, but thank you for making me relive it. Never not wanted to be on my own show, but that did it.
Yeah, we were sitting here and Pink Pony Club came up as a topic. And Schwartz opens his mic out of nowhere and goes, "I love that song." I was like, okay. Anyone who doesn't see him on camera, how tall is he? 6'4", 300?
Oh, yeah.
Huge guy.
Looks like a retired lineman.
Yeah, I think he would have a great time in the Pink Pony Club. I don't know. I don't know what that meant. But he said he loved the song, which I think we all like the song.
Pony Club.
Okay, got it.
How did we get? Oh, don't stop believing. Great, man. See what you did?
I'm not a fan of either.
Two thumbs up.
We gotta
Wait, you're
get
not
to,
a fan of the song Pink Pony?
No, I am.
Just Schwartz singing it.
Just
Okay.
Schwartz's rendition. I'm not a fan of. Why don't we get to tonight? Because a big storyline, Game 5, NBA Finals, a finals nobody thought, I don't believe, would get to be this interesting. Everyone wanted to clown this finals and dunk on the finals and say it's two small markets and who cares? Well, this has turned into an awesome series. Tied up.
If an awesome series happens in the woods and falls, no one is there to see it? Does it count?
I don't think this is like that. I think people have been watching this series.
Oh, not American viewers, but yes.
Who, Uzbekistan? Like, whoa,
No, I mean, saying,
where
like,
are they watching
Well,
it?
they're famously low ratings. It is an awesome series, but you can't ignore the fact that there's something missing. And know what I think it is. You mentioned dunk on the series. Nobody can dunk in this damn series. It's a mid-range, masterful game. That's what this series has been. It's not my style of hoops.
The games have been close. It's been dramatic and
it's strategic. It's great. I agree.
phenomenal basketball in a lot of ways. So here was Rick Carlisle. This was after Game 4, where Pacers lose. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting to the line, what was it, 6 times in the last 5 minutes, something like that. And so Carlisle was asked about Scott Foster, who, if we're all on a first and last name basis with a referee in the NBA, obviously they're very controversial. So here is Carlisle defending Scott Foster, even though most of the calls went against the Pacers in Game 4.
I think it's awful some of the things I've seen about the officiating, and Scott Foster in particular. I've known Scott Foster for 30 years. He's a great official. He's done a great job in these playoffs. We've had him a lot of times. The ridiculous scrutiny that's being thrown out there is terrible and unfair and unjust and stupid.
Okay. So obviously Rick Carlisle is the head of the NBA Coaches Association. So I do think he has to do a little politics here. He might actually think this, I don't know, but he does have to do a little politics because it's very important that people believe the officiating's, straight up in a game where officiating matters as much as it does in the NBA.
Well, I'm not sure people are accusing Scott Foster of being corrupt like Tim Donaghy or anything, although
that's the thing. If you pull the thread back on Scott Foster, there is a connection between him and Tim Donaghy. There were over 100 phone calls that were made between him and Tim Donaghy at the height of that scandal, lasting for under 2 minutes. Now, to be fair to Scott Foster, the NBA looked into it, the FBI looked into it, and the NBA hired an outside law firm to look into it, and all 3 bodies cleared Scott Foster of any wrongdoing. Now,
yeah, but I mean, he's also, what is his nickname, the Extender?
That Bill Simmons gave him.
Right, not that he's throwing games for mobsters, that the NBA kind of pushes their refs to make series more interesting. That's
right. Whether
which is
it's
not really
implicit
straight
or
corruption.
explicit.
But the real thing is Scott Foster calls more fouls than anyone in the NBA, which favors the Thunder, even though the free throws were almost even in this game. So what happens, and to me, the key to the series is the foul shots slow the game down, and the Pacers needed to make it a super big track meet. So if you call more fouls, they can't get out and run, and it saves the Thunder energy. So that's why I think Foster gives the Thunder a big advantage. And a lot of the call, you're right, it did seem like every call went the Thunder way, but it really was, they called it pretty tight, which favors the Thunder. So I think that's big. But a lot of people think Carlisle did that because Foster's probably doing Game 7. They haven't announced it yet, but it's most likely he's doing Game 7 and wants to butter up Scott Foster.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be smart to take him out right now because you might see him again. As far as tonight, probably not a lot of referees you've heard of unless you're really deep into this.
Is my man Ed Malloy there?
No. John Goble, Mark Davis, James Williams with Ben Taylor as your alternate.
John Goble or Jason Goble?
John. That's what it says here on the NBA website.
Okay.
What's the, is it Terry Cousins? Who's the other crew chief that we see a lot? So there guy
Tony Brothers.
Tony Brothers, not Terry Cousins. Yeah, Tony Brothers.
That was a weird.
Tony Brothers.
Perry sisters.
Yeah. Terry, that's funny, yeah. And then Eddie Malloy gets a lot of final games. Who else are but Foster's the one, right? That's the name. That's the current NBA official that everyone knows.
Yeah,
I think it was a big deal. I think they're having trouble because they decided in this playoffs they're not going to call it like the regular season. Things are more physical and people are confused.
Yeah, and I think both of these teams kind of employ a similar strategy, which is we're going to basically foul you all the time and see if you call it. So in some ways, I don't envy the referees at all because it's a really tough series to call.
And you have that idea that SGA is foul baiting, so you don't want to play into that either. So they haven't really been putting him to the line till the end of the game, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and it's just when Nembhard fouls out, it's just a completely different game then for the Pacers. But anyway, we get Game 5 tonight, so that's exciting. And we got to go. Sorry we never got to you guys on the phones. Keep it coming. Keep calling tomorrow. The Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff moves to the city of Miami. Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you, Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, the interns in the house. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.